Hey guys! This is part 8 of What If Naruto Was in Marvel Universe. Hit like and subscribe if you like this one, and also please check the author in the description. Let's start! Chapter 31. Author's note: a few years ago, I quit this story. I've decided to come back, but I'll be following through with the outline I wrote up and going from there. If you want to know what happened between chapters 30 and 32, read this summary. Please excuse any grammatical/spelling errors. I wrote this in a rush like 5 years ago. Naruto and Jessica Drew managed to convince She-Hulk to join Infinity Watch, Naruto promising her that with the Infinity Stones, he can turn her back to normal. Ileana fails to get anyone she was tasked with recruiting, with Daredevil having been recruited by Captain America, who has now formed his own version of the Avengers, i.e., the Secret Avengers. The Secret Avengers consist of Captain America, Falcon, Maria Hill, and Daredevil. Naruto, now comfortable with his team, takes them to his home world. Unsealing the Infinity Stones he's managed to gather, Naruto shows the team just how powerful they are by melding their power with his Six Paths chakra. As Naruto and the team are about to leave, Naruto realizes that there are other people in Konoha besides Infinity Watch. Naruto is outraged to find what appears to be a Skrull colony holding up in Konoha. As Naruto is about to confront these Skrull intruders, Naruto is attacked by Carol Danvers. As the two duke it out, the Skrull explain to the rest of Infinity Watch that they're refugees looking for a new home safe from the Kree. Naruto and Captain Marvel eventually reach a truce, and Naruto reluctantly lets the Kree stay on his world, offering to help them build a village on the outskirts of Konoha. A year goes by, with Naruto and his team growing closer as a unit. Ileana learns how to utilize a magical version of Sage Mode. Owen Reese now has moderate control over his powers and is now a major powerhouse of the team. Jessica bonds with She-Hulk, forcing her to question her loyalties. And Shuri develops the belief that Wakanda should open itself to the rest of the world, much to her brother's annoyance. In this time, Naruto stops the cult that has been using his name for their horrible sacrifices with the help of Jessica Jones and Luke Cage. A large part of this year revolves around Naruto and Wanda's budding relationship, the two eventually opening up to each other over time, bonding over their mutual loss. However, behind the scenes Helmut Zemo has been plotting and gathering allies. With the help of Taskmaster, the Chameleon, and tech provided by the Vulture, Zemo sets his machinations in motion. It's May 2016, and the Soul Accords are considered an incredible success. So much so, that King Chaka of Wakanda agrees to publicly offer aid to the city of Nairobi, who has been struggling with reconstruction after May 22nd. The Secret Avengers are given intel that someone plans to assassinate Chaka during his press conference in Nairobi. Feeding that intel to Tony, the Secret Avengers provide clandestine assistance. As they stake out the area, they spot someone planting a bomb near the conference building. However, they fail to prevent the explosion, leaving behind a wide number of casualties, including Chaka, who is killed, and Black Knight, who is injured trying to save him. Unable to immediately prove who was behind the terrorist attack, the press and several countries blame the Secret Avengers meddling. A week later, Naruto, She-Hulk, Magic, Spider-Woman, and Molecule Man are doing practical field work to help build their teamwork. Because the mighty Avengers and Secret Avengers have been focusing on big-picture events, they've failed to notice a group of superhumans who have begun to wreak havoc in the city of Stamford. As they are fighting off the team in a strategically enclosed area, a sniper shoots and kills an explosively volatile superhuman they're fighting named Nitro. This causes Nitro to self-destruct. The explosion causes an incredible amount of property damage, though thanks to Naruto there were no civilian casualties. The press goes into a frenzy, with the CIA stating that the former Hydra agent, Bucky Barnes, was responsible for both incidents. Naruto goes solo in his quest for revenge, refusing to let his team get caught up in any drama with the world governments. Tony's team is sent to apprehend Bucky alive, Steve's team is tracking him down to save him, and Naruto is hunting down Bucky to kill him. While Naruto is hunting Bucky down, it is revealed that the Chameleon and Taskmaster are who bombed the building, and Taskmaster is who killed Nitro and is working for Helmut Zemo. Chameleon and Zemo are seeking vengeance for their personal losses in May 22nd, while Taskmaster is doing it for pay. Taskmaster, using the Chameleon's mask to disguise himself as Naruto and using Vulture's tech to imitate some of his powers, infiltrates the Joint Counter-Terrorist Center in Berlin, claiming to be searching for info on Bucky. In his search, he causes mass damage and kills dozens of CIA agents, including Sharon Carter. In Bucharest, Naruto arrives as Steve and Chala give chase to Bucky. As Naruto arrives on the scene to kill Bucky, he is surrounded by Tony's Avengers who reveal what happened in Berlin. Now wanted by the UN, Naruto is forced to retreat as he is swarmed by police and Avengers. Wanda, who is present during the reveal, escapes with Naruto. As Naruto and Wanda try and figure out what happened in Berlin, his team's base is infiltrated by American officers, forcing them to flee. Spider-Woman remains behind, assisting Ross in figuring out Naruto's next move. She is reassigned to Tony's Avengers to replace Wanda. Steve, who was arrested in Bucharest along with Falcon, is taken to the temporary Joint Counter-Terrorist Center in Paris, under the supervision of Everett Ross. A Naruto-disguised Taskmaster infiltrates the Paris building while Zemo activates Bucky's brain-washed Berserker mode. During this time, Naruto and Wanda rendezvous with the rest of Infinity Watch. In Paris, Taskmaster Naruto nearly kills War Machine, crippling him. Bucky, Steve, and Sam flee from Paris, believing Zemo is going to activate the other Hydra Winter Soldiers. With both sides of the split Avengers turned against Naruto, Ross uses this to send Tony's Avengers to try and get Captain America to stand down and unite against the bigger threat that is Naruto. Spider-Woman warns Naruto, having bonded with Team during their time together. This warning comes just in time, as Naruto realizes that Bucky would know where Chameleon and Zemo would be. Captain America's team, Winter Soldier, Moon Knight, Agent Hill, Falcon, and Ant-Man arrive at the Charles de Gaulle to try and get away to Zemo's Hydra base in Siberia. Iron Man arrives with his team, Black Widow, Black Knight, Spider-Woman, Spider-Man, and Black Panther. Iron Man tries to convince Captain America to help them restrain Naruto, so they can try to calm the already terrible situation. It is then that Naruto and his team arrives, Magic, She-Hulk, Molecule Man, and Scarlet Witch. Tony and Steve, both angry and not believing that an angry Naruto wouldn't hurt people to get what he wants, all engage Naruto in hopes of stopping him from hurting anyone else. The ensuing fight leads with Steve and Bucky getting away thanks to Natasha's betrayal of Tony, and Infinity Watch leaves after seeing the damage the fight had caused. No one knows that Naruto is tagging along with Steve and Bucky, nor that Zemo has revealed that Naruto nor Bucky were behind the attacks by killing Chameleon and leaving the evidence behind. Iron Man learns this after the battle, and after interrogating Sam goes to assist Steve in Siberia. In Siberia, Zemo reveals that Bucky had killed Tony's parents, starting a three-way fight between Iron Man, Captain America, and Bucky. Meanwhile, Chala is fighting Taskmaster in an intense hand-to-hand duel. All while Naruto watches this descent. Disillusioned by recent events, Naruto decides that Earth isn't worth the trouble after killing Zemo. Visiting the Barton family, he gives them a goodbye and a means to get a hold of him before leaving with Infinity Watch for the outer galaxy, contacting the Guardians of the Galaxy to get a drink. Several months go by, with Infinity Watch and the Guardians of the Galaxy having temporarily joined up and enjoying some downtime on the planet Xander. Naruto is reunited with Adora, and Infinity Watch and the Guardians get into a couple space-related hijinks. One such escapade involved Quill's long-lost father Ego. Ego, believing Naruto to be one of his many children, tries to convince him into going to his planet. Things quickly go sideways, as Naruto and Quill get into an epic cosmic battle with the Celestial. Ego is eventually defeated with the help of Yondu, who joins the Guardians. The two teams then go separate ways, with Infinity Watch looking for any clues pertaining to the location of the Soul Stone. Months later, Infinity Watch receives a distress call from Xander. Thanos is attacking. Arriving on the scene, Naruto is shocked to see that the Guardians and Adora are at the mercy of Thanos and his Black Order. Thanos demands Naruto turn over the stones in his collection. When Naruto refuses, Thanos tries to kill Adora, but is saved by Naruto. Adora is later revealed to be Nebula, and Adora is Nebula who'd been in Thanos' hands all along. Thanos then snaps her neck. After threatening the rest of the Guardians, Naruto finally relents, taking Thanos to his home planet. As Naruto prepares to fight Thanos, Thanos says that if he doesn't do as asked, Xander dies. With the lives of billions on his hands, Naruto relents with the idea that he can find a way to get them back. Returning to Xander, Thanos puts the space, power, and mind stone into his Infinity Gauntlet, now only 2 stones away from completing the set. Thanos then reveals that he'd used the Reality Stone to put an illusion over the planet. Rather than half destroyed and at Thanos' mercy, Xander had been destroyed a week prior. Now on a war path to find the Soul Stone to keep it out of Thanos' hands, a distraught Naruto goes to the Guardians. He asks Gamora if she knows anything about where it might be. When Gamora denies knowing anything about the stone, Naruto demands she stop lying. Nebula, who'd accompanied Infinity Watch after the destruction of Xander, convinces Gamora to tell him. Now knowing that the Soul Stone is on the planet Vormir, Naruto heads there on his own. Reaching Vormir, Naruto is met by the Keeper of the Stone who tells Naruto that he must sacrifice something he loves to get the stone. Knowing he could never go through with that kind of sacrifice, Naruto does the only thing he thinks he can. Activating Cosmic Sage Mode, Naruto destroys Vormir and the Soul Stone along with it. An exhausted Naruto floats alone in space, Kurama keeping a chakra cloak up to keep him safe. As he loses consciousness, he is saved by Infinity Watch and the Guardians. A month after the destruction of Vormir, Hela makes a sudden appearance, seeking Naruto's help. Hela, having had a change of heart after her battle with Naruto, seeks redemption. She tells Naruto that a beast called Mangog has been released onto the universe. The Mangog was created by the 10th realm, Heaven, right before their destruction by the hands of Asgard. Mangog, a creature driven by the feelings of hatred and despair of its creators, is an unstoppable force. The only thing that can end its existence is the destruction of the very thing it hates, Asgard. Until then, it's unstoppable. But Hela believes that her half-brother Thor may know of a way to stop it. However, he has disappeared. Naruto and Hela travel to Asgard, confronting its new king, Loki. Loki tells them that the day before Odin passed on, Thor was attacked by a warrior by the name of Beta Ray Bill. Beta Ray Bill comes from a race of aliens that were nearly wiped out by the Asgardians and is the previous gladiator champion of the Sakaran gladiator ring led by the Grandmaster. Having been defeated by the new champion, the Hulk, the Grandmaster has promised Beta Ray Bill his freedom if he can bring him a warrior of his caliber. Beta Ray Bill chooses Thor as his replacement, attacking Thor as he's training with Odin. Beta Ray Bill manages to take Mjolnir for himself, defeating Thor and taking him to Sakaar as a new slave. Naruto, Hela, and Loki travel to Sakaar to free Thor, entering the gladiator ring as Thor and Hulk's fight is about to hit its climax. Naruto fights off the Hulk while Thor and Loki take on Beta Ray Bill and Hela fights Valkyrie. Thor manages to beat Beta Ray Bill with his fully developed powers, and Hela easily keeps Valkyrie at bay. After Naruto knocks Hulk out and gets him to turn back into Bruce Banner, the fighting is at an end, Naruto killing the Grandmaster when he tries to use the collars on Banner and Thor's necks. Now free and feeling indebted to Naruto, Beta Ray Bill agrees to help him stop Mangog. Now with the Hulk, Thor, Valkyrie, Hela, Loki, and Beta Ray Bill, Naruto goes to Asgard just as Mangog arrives. Despite this epic force, Mangog is practically a force of nature. Realizing there's no other way, Thor gives Naruto permission to destroy Asgard to weaken Mangog. While Thor, Beta Ray Bill, Loki, and Valkyrie lead the Asgardians to escape, Naruto, Hela, and Hulk hold off Mangog. When everyone is evacuated, Naruto activates Cosmic Sage Mode and destroys Asgard, fulfilling Hela's prophecy. With Hela's help, Naruto destroys Mangog. As Naruto helps the Asgardian refugees get to Earth, Proxima Midnight and Corvus Glaive ambush Infinity Watch and the Guardians of the Galaxy in search of Naruto, who Thanos believes has the Soul Stone. The two eventually retreat with Gamora and Nebula in tow. After torturing Nebula, Gamora reveals that Naruto destroyed the Soul Stone. Though angered, Thanos continues with the plan to get the Time Stone on Earth, which is under Doctor Strange's protection. Thanos sends an advance team consisting of Ebony Maw, Cull Obsidian, and the Chitauri to find the stone and possibly retrieve it. Doctor Strange gets a warning from Magic, warning him that Thanos is coming to Earth for the Time Stone. As Magic calls to warns Naruto, the Asgardian ship is ambushed by Thanos' invading army. Their ship is boarded and nearly destroyed, though most of the crew manages to escape thanks to the help of Naruto. Doctor Strange goes to Tony Stark, telling him of the situation as Ebony Maw arrives in Manhattan. A battle ensues, and Doctor Strange is about to be taken when Naruto, Thor, and the Hulk arrive with Asgardian reinforcements. Naruto kills Maw, the Hulk kills Cull, and Thor leads the Asgardians against the Chitauri attacking the city. With this victory, Tony and Naruto prepare for Thanos' eventual arrival. Thanos gathers all his forces to Earth. This includes the remnants of the Black Order, the Outriders, Chitauri, Sakarans, and Centaurians. These forces converge on Earth, with the intent to distract the Avengers and their allies while Thanos deals with the Time Stone. On Earth, Tony and Naruto reunite with Steve Rogers' secret Avengers, who all go to Wakanda to try and gather more forces. The Guardians of the Galaxy and Infinity Watch are brought to Earth by Naruto, completing the defending side. Their forces include the complete Avengers roster, Infinity Watch, the Guardians of the Galaxy, Black Panther and the Wakandans, the Asgardians, and the United Nations military. As the battle is about to begin, Doctor Strange secretly uses the Time Stone to investigate as many possible futures as he can, with him only seeing 2 futures where victory occurs. Knowing he'll be needed in the coming conflict, Strange hides the Time Stone in the stars above Earth as a precaution. The first wave comes in the form of Outriders at the border of the Wakandan capital Birnin Zana. As they begin to break Birnin Zana's force field, Black Panther and Captain America open the force field to keep them from being overwhelmed. As the Wakandans and Asgardians fight off the force, the Chitauri arrive and begin to bombard the city with Leviathans and their chariot assaults, forcing the Wakandans to focus on protecting the city, splitting their forces' attention. As the battle intensifies, the Sakarans are fought off with the help of the Guardians and Infinity Watch. A break in the fighting ensues with the deaths of Corvus Glaive, Loki, and Heimdall. This break is halted by the arrival of the Centaurians and Thanos, with Thanos using the stones to enhance himself and his army. Thanos alone defeats Iron Man and Captain America's Avengers, killing Captain America and nearly crippling the Hulk. The incredibly powerful Thanos then comes head-to-head with Naruto and Doctor Strange. As their fight begins to cause damage to the area around them, Tony rejoins the fight. Naruto, weakened from overuse of Cosmic Sage Mode, can do nothing as Tony is nearly killed by Thanos. To save Tony's life, Doctor Strange gives up the Time Stone. With this victory, Thanos heads to where Vormir had once been, using Gamora as a guide as Earth's forces finish off the rest of his forces. Using the Time Stone, Thanos revives Vormir. A recovered Naruto follows them with a Horatian seal he placed on the gauntlet, just after Thanos' sacrifice of Gamora. Failing to convince Thanos to stop, Naruto fights him in an attempt to stop what he plans to do. Thanos, who now on par with a cosmic being like death or eternity, pushes Naruto to his limits as he tries to keep him from snapping his fingers. Naruto, who is running on fumes after a full day's worth of fighting, thinks he's about to fail once again. But, realizing that he's finally getting a chance at redemption after failing to save his people, Naruto gets a second wind. Using the Horatian on the Infinity Gauntlet, Naruto attacks the stones themselves with a truth-seeking ball, destroying the stones and the gauntlet. The explosion from the attack destroys the left arms of both Naruto and Thanos, the two bleeding out as Vormir crumbles from the aftershock of their battle. Thanos, near death, laments whether or not any of what he'd done was worth it. As he dies, Thanos wonders if he'll see Gamora one last time. Back on Earth, the battle has officially ended. Earth has suffered heavy losses, with the deaths of Loki, Heimdall, Jessica Drew, Yondu, and Captain America weighing heavily on everyone. Naruto then arrives via Horatian, passing out immediately from the exertion. Waking up a day later, Naruto tells Tony that Thanos is dead and that the stones are destroyed. This victory is bittersweet, as Steve Rogers' funeral quickly follows. Later that day, Wanda and Naruto are staying with the Bartons, the two watching the sun set while lounging on the homestead's porch. Wanda asks Naruto if they'll be staying on Earth for a while. Naruto, not seeing why not, says they should probably find a house to stay. Smiling, the two embrace before silently dancing in each other's arms. Chapter 32 – Heroes Come Back. Marvel's Maelstrom, Phase 2. During the climactic battle with Kaguya Otsutsuki, Naruto Uzumaki was transported to Earth by Sasuke Uchiha. Realizing no one was coming to save him, Naruto set out on an odyssey filled with mad gods, powerful tyrants, and a couple Infinity Stones to find his way back home. Returning home after years away, Naruto discovered he was the last shinobi alive. Learning of the power behind the Infinity Stones, Naruto set out to recover all of them in hopes of one day bringing everyone he loved back. Forming his own team, Infinity Watch, Naruto made a mortal enemy out of the Mad Titan himself, Thanos. In the conflict that would later be known as the Infinity War, the forces of Earth and beyond banded together against Thanos' quest to kill half of all life in the universe. Despite heavy losses, Thanos was defeated. Naruto, at the cost of his dream and his own right arm, destroyed the Infinity Stones with a snap of his fingers. 5 years later, and Earth's mightiest heroes and their allies across the universe live in relative peace, unaware of the coming incursion. Chapter 1. Heroes Come Back. Snow descended softly on a swath of woodland within the Land of Fire. In the middle of the forest, a 12-year-old Naruto lay on his back against a thick tree branch, mist steaming out of his mouth with each soft snore. In a puff of smoke, Kakashi appeared, standing vertically on the tree trunk just above the dozing Naruto. "Naruto, wake up!" Kakashi ordered blandly. Naruto didn't budge, his snoring growing louder. Kakashi sighed. Reaching his hand within his winter cloak, he withdrew a kunai from the holster, the jonin throwing the knife up at the branch above them. It hit with a thunk, causing the pile of snow that had collected on top to fall right on Naruto's sleeping face. Jarred awake and sputtering snow out of his mouth, a dazed Naruto slipped off the tree branch he was resting on with a startled shout, landing face first on the snow-covered ground. Kakashi landed next to the sprawled-out blonde, tilting his head as he said, "This is what I was warning you about, Naruto. How do you expect to perform your duties on this mission when you spend all night training?" Naruto sat up, dusting snow out of his hair. "How else do you expect me to get strong enough to bring Sasuke back, sensei?" Kakashi was quiet for a moment. "Strength takes time." "Well, I don't really got a ton of time, do I?" Naruto shot back with a squinted look. Standing up, he adjusted his cloak. "Where's Shikamaru and Sakura?" "Shikamaru went to scout ahead. Sakura walked off somewhere for a bit. I was going to send you out to retrieve her," Kakashi answered, standing up himself. "Once Shikamaru returns, we'll head out to the rendezvous." All right, Naruto said before jumping off into the trees to find Sakura. Rushing through the shrubbery in a blur, Naruto almost missed the tiny form of Sakura standing in a small clearing below him. Landing on a tree branch above her, Naruto watched curiously as Sakura performed a set of hand signs before stretching her hands out together in front of her. After a second, a shimmer of green chakra enveloped her hands. Her brow knit with concentration, Sakura held the energy for as long as she could. Eventually, the pink-haired girl's control slipped, and the chakra whisked away. "Whoa, that was awesome!" Naruto shouted from above. A startled Sakura shrieked as Naruto landed haphazardly next to her with an excited grin on his face. "Damn it, Naruto! Don't scare me like that!" she scolded half-heartedly. "Since when could you do that?" Naruto enthusiastically demanded. Sakura hunched into herself nervously. Well, did Granny teach you that?" Sakura looked at Naruto with disapproval. "You really shouldn't call Lady Hokage that, Naruto." Naruto shot her one of his usual smiles. She loves it, trust me." Sakura shook her head. "The things she lets you get away with sometimes. Do you think you could teach me how to do something like that?" Naruto asked. "It takes a lot of chakra control to pull it off, Naruto," Sakura said matter-of-factly. "That, and I'm just barely starting to grasp the basics myself. I doubt I could teach anybody how to do it right now." "What are you talking about?" "You're a great teacher, Sakura. Way better than Kakashi or Pervy Sage, that's for sure," Naruto said confidently. "Really?" Sakura asked, unsure. "Absolutely." Sakura looked at Naruto for a moment, as if to make sure he wasn't playing a joke on her. When she noticed that sincere smile of his, she couldn't help but smile herself. Looking away so Naruto wouldn't see, Sakura said, "You've got enough on your plate, Naruto. Don't you leave for your trip with Master Jiraiya soon?" "Yeah, in a few weeks, I think," Naruto answered, deflating. "Aren't you excited?" "I guess. I just don't like leaving for that long." "I'll miss you guys," Naruto muttered. Sakura looked back at him, unsure what to say. "But I gotta leave. I have to get stronger." "Right, Sakura?" Naruto asked her, his eyes almost pleading. Sakura, again at a loss, eventually managed to say, "We'll miss you too, idiot." Naruto's eyes widened. "Really?" He grinned toothily. "Don't be too sad, Sakura, I'll be back." "That's a promise." Sakura gave an exasperated eye roll. "Why do you have to be so corny all the time?" she asked, though a grin managed to peek its way through. "What do you mean, corny?" Naruto was cut off by the arrival of Shikamaru landing on the tree branch the blonde had been perched on before. "Naruto, Sakura! Come on, let's get a move on!" Shikamaru commanded gruffly. "Roger!" Sakura, at attention, yelled back, jumping up in Shikamaru's direction. Naruto stood in the clearing, alone. "Naruto, come on!" Sakura shouted. "Naruto, come on!" Naruto's eyes snapped open. Looking around, he found himself on his back in a crater. Hovering over him, A bloody Thor looked at the destruction around them as black energy crackled along the ground, tendrils, made of the same energy protruding from the ground like crooked fingers. Buildings in the area, golden ancient Greek-era temples, lay ruined. In the sky sat a pearly white sphere, like a smooth, miniature moon. The sphere was lined up with the black tendrils on the ground below, a blood-red string of energy discharging between them. Naruto shook his head, sitting up as he said, "Damn, he got me good." Standing up, Naruto looked around. A few dozen Olympian and Asgardian warriors were still fighting off the black beasts the Olympians called berserkers. Valkyrie and Korg helped fend off a swarm of them as a group of Olympians' warriors tried to retreat. Dusting off the bits of rubble stuck to his jacket, Naruto rolled his shoulder as he asked, "Where's Gore at now?" Thor pointed with Stormbreaker at the golden Colosseum in the distance. "He's fighting Hercules as we speak." "How's he doing?" "No better than I'm sad to admit," Thor said with a grimace, clutching his side. "We won't have long before he activates the Pantheon bomb. Once he does, all of Olympus will perish. We must hurry." "Right," Naruto muttered, cracking his neck. "I got that, you help the big fella." "I'll do my best," Thor said before shooting off towards the Colosseum in a blast of lightning. Naruto started to jump up and down like a boxer warming up, rolling his neck in anticipation. "I'm ready when you are, partner." Kurama growls excitedly. Naruto grinned viciously. "Let's go!" Orange chakra blasted out from Naruto, materializing around him to form the shape of a nine-tailed fox the size of a skyscraper. The energy split off from Naruto, who was now cloaked in his six-path sage mode, forming a separate entity. The energy dispersed to reveal Kurama in all his glory. Kurama reared his head back and roared loud enough it shook Olympus to its core. Naruto picked his ringing ear. "Calm down a bit, man, damn!" Kurama stopped roaring and glared up at the Pantheon bomb. "Leave that to me, Naruto," finished the butcher. Naruto doesn't say a word, disappearing in a blur of orange energy. Raising his hands to form a familiar hand sign, Kurama grumbled. "Can't believe I gotta use this damn technique of his. If Son Goku or Shikaku could see me now. Shadow Clone Jutsu!" 8 massive plumes of smoke erupted around the nine-tailed fox. When the smoke cleared, 9 Kuramas stood at the ready. Hercules, his face caked in blood, stumbled on his feet after taking another hit from Gore's energy tendrils. The tendrils were made from energy so thick you'd think it was slime, the vessels trembling almost as if they had a pulse. Gore, the god butcher, stood in the middle of the Colosseum, his black cloak billowing in the wind, the hood covering his ashen features. Resting his all-black greatsword on his shoulder, his beady eyes gleamed murderously at Hercules. "Yes, please, little godling, keep getting up. Let me spill more of that tainted blood of yours," Gore practically pleaded. "You'd be surprised how few other gods have the stomach for a fight they don't know they can win. They never realize it doesn't matter. Fight, run, beg, pray, it all ends the same." The divine hero spat out a wad of blood, glaring over at Thor as he shot a wave of lightning at the energy tendrils that were trying to overwhelm him. "Thor! Get your scrawny ass over here!" Hercules ordered. Thor twirled Stormbreaker nonchalantly. "Are you sure you can continue the fight? It would seem all that blood loss has made you delirious," Thor quipped. "Fuck you," Hercules muttered. "You have a plan, Odinson?" "Not really," Thor answered with a shrug. "I got something else, though." "What?" Suddenly, an orange blur whisked Gore away, dragging him into the Colosseum wall and blasting a Gore-sized hole right through. Gore was shot through the Colosseum and several neighboring temples before crash-landing in the middle of a cobblestone street, his body forming a crater in the road. Getting up, an uninjured Gore glared in the direction of where he'd been hit. "Another fool," he growled. Raising his sword, Gore deftly deflected a surprise kunai strike from Naruto, the two's eyes meeting as they tried to get the other to budge. Dropping back, Naruto withdrew another kunai into his other hand. "If I had $1 for every time someone called me a fool," Naruto joked. Gore wasn't amused. "Why bother yourself with this farce? Despite what people call you, you're not an eternal, nor a god. You're not even a demigod. You're just a warrior fighting for a lost cause. I've fought in a lot of lost causes and believe me, this ain't one of them. The gods are the lost cause," Gore corrected. "Maybe," Naruto agreed. "But no world, no people deserve to be wiped out like this," he said with conviction. Gore shook his head. "And what of the gods who are responsible for the genocide of thousands of worlds? Olympus alone has conquered hundreds. Naruto smiled softly. Their past might give us the right to judge. But no one should be the executioner of an entire race of people. The world isn't as black and white as you make it. Pointing his sword at Naruto, Gore declared, "My all-black necrosword was made to slay gods. Don't think you stand a chance." Naruto suddenly appeared in front of Gore out of nowhere, sucker punching the god butcher into a stone column on the side of the arena. The ceiling over Gore collapsed on top of him, piling up a mountain of stone rubble. "It's a good thing I'm no god then," Naruto said nonchalantly, holding his fist out in front of himself as chakra emanated from it dangerously. Kurama, the original, sits on his haunches. "Alright, let's show Naruto what real firepower looks like." The Kurama clones followed the original's lead. All 9 leaned their heads back and opened their maws as wide as possible. Positive and negative energy quickly began to gather, coalescing into massive spheres of gooping, purple chakra. All 9 Kuramas held the energy for a moment, gathering as much chakra as possible, before firing each of the tailed beast bombs up into the air. The attacks whistled up like rockets towards the Pantheon bomb. Everyone on the ground watched in awe as the bombs made impact. Naruto and Gore traded blows, the butcher doing his best to skewer Naruto through with his all-black. Parrying with his kunai, Naruto jabbed Gore in the face a couple times before driving his knee into the man's sternum. Gore dropped to his knees before a blinding flash of white light washed over them from overhead. Looking up just as a shockwave hit them, Gore was unaffected by the blast as the powerful boom of the explosion reached their ears. A shocked Gore watched as the Pantheon bomb, what was left of it, fell from the sky. "No!" Gore screamed, black wings sprouting from his back as he shot off into the air. The butcher flew up amongst the falling debris, watching in disbelief as his Pantheon bomb fell around him. His breathing was ragged with rage, his black energy swirling around him in reaction to his anger. His eyes landed on Naruto, who was still standing where Gore had left him. "Curse you!" Gore screamed. Naruto watched as Gore crash-landed in front of him. His body was enveloped with black tendrils like a makeshift armor. The tendrils squirmed around him like it had a mind of its own. Swinging the all-black, an arc of energy was blasted out toward Naruto. Ducking his head, Naruto dodged the attack. Bending his knees, Naruto kicked off toward Gore so hard the ground beneath him shattered. Swinging a jumping roundhouse kick, Naruto hit Gore right in the neck, the force of the hit so hard the area around them was shaken. But Gore didn't budge, instead taking a stab at Naruto with his necrosword. Naruto contorts around the stabbing blade, trying to use his other leg to give a downward kick into Gore's collar. Gore blocked it with his forearm, forcing Naruto to twist around so he could land on his feet. Encasing his hands with an extra layer Kurama's chakra, Naruto used them to catch the incoming necrosword as it came swinging towards his neck. Pulling his sword away, Gore Spartan kicked Naruto in the sternum, sending him rolling back. Coming to a stop, Naruto barely rolled over in time to avoid getting stabbed in the chest. Before Gore could react, Naruto shoved a quickly formed Rasengan into the butcher's chest. "Rasengan!" Naruto shouted, the jutsu blasting Gore away in its usual spiraling fashion. Gore crashed into an already destroyed temple, causing the rest of the building to fall around him. Dusting himself off, Naruto stands up to notice Kurama sitting not too far away with a bored expression on his face. "You gonna stop pulling your punches, brat?" Kurama asked as he gave Naruto a knowing look. Naruto shrugged with a loose smile. "The guy can fight better than I thought he might, that's all. Just end it already." Kurama grumbled. "I'm going back into the seal, I've grown bored of this." Naruto waved him off. Yeah, enjoy your nap, you damn cat." An angry vein pulsed on Kurama's forehead before he disappeared in a puff of smoke. Then, massive tendrils of energy broke out from beneath the temple rubble, freeing Gore, who was now completely covered in the pulsing tendrils, giving the god butcher a few extra feet in size. "I'm going to kill you!" Gore screamed, his voice deepened by his exploding energy. Blasting off, Naruto jumped back to avoid Gore slamming his tendrilled fist into the ground, the cobblestone street exploding from the impact. Reaching his other arm out, tendrils shot out at Naruto. As they neared him, they hardened to create a razor's sharp edge. The shinobi couldn't move fast enough to keep the edge tendril from stabbing him through the stomach. Raised up off his feet, Naruto grimaced in pain as the tendril withdrew back into Gore's arm with Naruto still impaled on it, his hand wrapping around the blonde's neck when he reached him. Blood dripped from Naruto's mouth as he glared down at Gore through gritted teeth. Gore glared back. "What you did didn't change anything." The Olympians will be purged, whether by the Pantheon bomb or my own hands, it doesn't matter. Gore pulled him in closer. The bomb was a kindness. Quick, painless. Me? I will make each and every one of them suffer for what they did. Olympus, Asgard, Heliopolis. I'll purge them all. Naruto's grimace turned into a grin. You know what your problem is? You stopped praying, so you stopped looking up. A sudden screech of energy was heard from above. Looking up, Gore saw another Naruto floating above them holding up a Raisin Shuriken powered by a truth-seeking ball. Wind style, truth-seeking Raisin Shuriken. Naruto launched the Raisin Shuriken, the attack screaming through the air on its way to Gore. Gore looked back down at the Naruto in his hand, who gave a toothy grin as giant chakra hands emerged from his shoulders, grabbing Gore in a tight grip. Trying and failing to get free of the Naruto clone's grip, Gore could do nothing as the Raisin Shuriken hit. In the air, Naruto watched as a colossal dome of wind chakra exploded out from where the jutsu had hit, kicking up a shockwave strong enough Naruto had to brace himself. From within the dome, a black figure shot out like a bullet. Naruto reflexively grabbed Gore's wrist just before he could strike him with what was left of his all-black necrosword, the blade broken off a few inches above the base of the guard. Gore was just as broken, his other arm and his legs were gone, his body bludgeoned, bruised and covered in blood. Tightening his grip, Naruto snapped Gore's wrist, causing the all-black to fall out of his hand to the ground below. The sword landed blade first, embedding itself into the ground like a gothic Excalibur. Powerless, Gore was left hanging in Naruto's hand. Gore glowered at Naruto defiantly. So, this is my fate. I always thought it'd be by something more. Naruto was quiet, letting Gore say his piece. Better to die by mortal hands, Gore conceded. Then again, gods don't show mercy. Do you? Naruto stared at Gore for a second before answering. Some people, if you show them you understand, if you put yourself in their place, a common ground can be found. But sometimes, there is no common ground. Sometimes you gotta put yourself above all that and decide what's best for everybody. I think, in your own twisted way, that's what all this is about for you. Gore doesn't flinch. I prayed to my gods for my entire life. They left me to starve, my people to die, my mate, my child. We begged them to help us. But they laughed at our prayers. In the end, I gave the gods something to pray about, but it seems some prayers do come true after all. Naruto was quiet for a moment. You've left me no choice. You've killed too many. I only wish I'd killed more. Naruto sighed. Encasing his hand in lightning, he quickly drove a Chidori through Gore's chest. The shinobi looked the god butcher in the eyes as the life bled from them. Pulling out his hand, he held the now lifeless body in his hands as his 6 paths chakra cloak faded. It shouldn't have been like that. Should have ended it sooner then. I wanted to see if he had any humanity left at all. Did you find any? No. His heart was pitch black. Naruto, now dressed in a civilian track suit, casually walked the streets of the Japanese village of Fukiya Furusato, grocery bags in hand. Naruto's short, spiky blonde hair was covered by an orange bucket hat, the rim dipped down to cover his eyes. His right hand was wrapped in bandages. Lantern lights hung up on strings light up the village streets as dusk fell, lighting up the copper-colored traditional Japanese architecture with a warm glow. Mr. Uzumaki! A girl shouted in Japanese. Hey, wait up! A local teenage girl, still wearing her school uniform, sped up to Naruto on her bike. The blonde stopped long enough for her to catch up and ride beside him. You're back! The girl exclaimed. So, what did you fight this time? A god killer, Naruto answered lazily in Japanese. You can kill gods? This guy could. And you fought him? Yup. And you won? Uh-huh. The girl fist pumped giddily. Oh my god, that is so cool! If you said so, Naruto said. He eyed the girl for a second. Why are you still wearing your school uniform, Hisako? The girl's pedaling slowed down, forcing Naruto to match her pace. Well, get in trouble again, Naruto drawled out. Hisako smiled lamely. A little bit. They're gonna kick you out if you keep this up, you know? Naruto chided. The girl had the decency to look guilty. You won't tell Granny, right? I won't have to tell Ms. Ichiki anything. She's smarter than you give her credit for, Naruto said before a mischievous grin spread on his face. So, what did you do? Hisako smiled back. The door to Naruto's home slid open. Before walking in any further, Naruto kicked his shoes off. Flicking on the lights, he carried the groceries to the kitchen counter. Opening the fridge, he set a few items inside. Walking upstairs, the blonde shrugged off the tracksuit jacket, leaving him in a sleeveless blue shirt. Sitting down on the bed, Naruto began to unravel the wrappings around his right hand and lower arm, eventually revealing a slightly discolored appendage. With his left hand, Naruto reached over to his right forearm and pressed his fingers around it. A sensor on the forearm was activated, the arm disconnecting with a click, and where Naruto placed the arm in a red case on his bedside table, the Stark Industries logo decaled on the side. Rolling his right arm, Naruto pulled out his phone. He pulled up texts from Peter Parker, Shuri, Natasha, Wong, and Naruto rubbed his face. He called the last texter. The phone trilled a few times before there was an answer. Hey, Wanda. Yeah, I just got back. How's the unpacking going? Yeah, I bet. No, I haven't had the chance to call anyone else yet. You're the first person I called. How's the town? What was it called again? Westview, that's right. Well, let me know when you're ready for a get-together or something. I can bring the whole gang over. Well, no, I'm just saying, yeah, no, I get it. You need some space. Okay, I'll talk to you later. Bye. Naruto hung up, groaning dramatically as he lay on the bed. Face it, partner, that ship has sailed. Yeah, I know. Damn it. What's that stupid human saying about fish in the sea? Thanks, buddy. That made me feel a whole lot better. Naruto muttered sarcastically. No problem. Sitting up, Naruto said to himself. I just need a change of scenery. Staying here for a while longer will do me good. Besides, it reminds me of home. A little too much like home, if you asked me. Standing up, Naruto said with forced cheerfulness. You know what, I could go for a bite to eat. Walking downstairs, Naruto turned into the kitchen. He froze when he saw his fridge door open with a stranger peeking their head inside. Who the hell are you? Naruto demanded as he slid into a fighting stance. A familiar voice that caused Naruto to go rigid with shock spoke from behind the fridge door. Still not able to keep track of your expired milk, I see. Lifting his head out from inside the fridge, the man turned to face Naruto fully. He was wearing a brown business suit, with a tan necktie with a logo that read TVA. His half-lidded eyes staring thoughtfully at Naruto before closing them to deliver his patented eye smile. Closing the fridge and standing in front of Naruto, a maskless Kakashi Hatake gave him a lazy wave hello. It's been a while, Naruto. Chapter 33, TikTok. This must be strange for you. Naruto blinked at the words, still too stunned to speak. Kakashi put his hands in his pockets nonchalantly. How long has it been since you saw my face? I don't think I've ever your face. Naruto answered automatically, stopping himself. Just what the hell is going on? Who are you? What is this? My name is K1173. The man said blandly. You're not Kakashi Hatake? I am, or I suppose was. K1173 answered. Naruto clenched his jaw. You're gonna have to do better than that. K1173 thought it over for a second. The Kakashi you knew was killed 15 years ago in the battle against Kaguya Otsutsuki. I know that, damn it. Naruto yelled. Stop playing games, tell me who you are and why you look like him. K1173 sighed. I knew it was a bad idea to send me here. This is too confusing. Rubbing the back of his neck, he said. I'm not here to fight, Naruto. I was sent here to speak with you. By who? Naruto demanded. The Time Variance Authority. K1173 answered. The what? The Time Variance Authority is an organization dedicated toward monitoring the fabric of the multiverse. We ensure that things stay on an even keel. K1173 explained. Naruto looked at the man skeptically. Never heard of it. You wouldn't have. K1173 said like it was obvious. This is Kakashi all right. Kurama grumbled from with the seal. So, what's this about? Naruto asked. I'm come to recruit you. Naruto blinked. What now? You are among a select few whom the TVA wishes to recruit for a coming incursion. K1173 explained. Suddenly, an orange doorway opened behind him. Stepping to the side, he gestured toward the time door. Step into my office. Naruto narrowed his eyes defiantly. I'm not going anywhere with you. We can talk right here. K1173 looked at Naruto with an unreadable expression, his Sharingan eye noticeably missing. When he spoke, his voice was dangerously calm. Naruto, believe me when I say that we are dealing with forces beyond anything you could ever comprehend. There is too much at stake here for you not to hear me out. I can hear you just fine right here. K-1173's eyes narrowed. Just when it seemed like the tension in the room was about to explode, his shoulders relaxed. I guess every Naruto is as stubborn as the other. He reached into his jacket pocket. Naruto clenched his fist, only to relax when K-1173 pulled out a small, circular device. Walking over to the kitchen table, he placed it down. Clicking a button, K-1173 activated the device, an orange-hued projection flickering up over the table. Sitting down in a chair, K-1173 gestured to the image of the universe as it appeared. Since you're already aware of the multiverse, I'm not going to waste time explaining it, K-1173 said as he slipped naturally into his teacher mode, something that gave Naruto a strange bit of comfort. What you might not know is that in every varying universe lies one singular constant. An image of Owen Reese appeared on the projection. Owen Reese. In every universe, he exists. There are variations. Multiple versions of Owen fill the visual. In some realities, he's a villain, a hero, a god, an everyday man, but everyone has the same ability, the power to manipulate molecules. Naruto, absorbing all that in, eyed the version of Owen that belonged to his universe. So there's an Owen in every universe. What's the big deal? This isn't on accident. K-1173 elaborated. We believe Owen Reese was planted throughout the known multiverse as a failsafe. Failsafe for what? Naruto questioned. A new image appears on the projector. Have you ever heard of a being known as a Beyonder? K-1173 asked. The image was of an archaic symbol written in stone. Are they something like the Celestials? K-1173 shook his head. Beyond that, the Beyonders exist beyond time and space, or any dimension we could dream up. They created and maintained the entire multiverse. Right, so they're like gardeners for all existence or something, Naruto said, nodding his head in understanding. K-1173 gave Naruto a deadpan look. Sure, if that helps. New images popped up, showing varying versions of heroes including Stephen Strange, multiple Spider-Men, Loki and a guy in a red suit dual-wielding a pair of katanas. In recent years, the multiverse has gotten unwieldy, K-1173 admitted. A seemingly endless amount of multiversal events and catastrophes. Variants encountering one another, wars between universes, entire realities destroyed. Every new event strains the fabric of the multiverse more and more. Now we're at the breaking point. A wide, pulled-out view of the multiverse was shown, a single green dot appearing in each universe. Not long ago, we discovered a blip in every universe originating from Owen Reese. It was an energy that has only ever been recorded once in the entire history of the multiverse, the creation of the primordial universe. We believe this energy belongs to the Beyonders. Naruto scratched his head, eyes narrowed in thought. All right. These Beyonder guys did something to Owen. What exactly? The simplest explanation is that they primed him. To what? K-1173 looked Naruto in the eye, dead serious. To explode. Naruto couldn't help but laugh. Do what? You're saying these Beyonders made him into a bomb? Yes. A bomb with enough energy to destroy whatever universe an individual Owen Reese inhabits. K-1173 explained. So, when they detonate him, doomsday. Naruto was now deep in thought. After a moment, he asked, if the Beyonders created the multiverse, why would they want to destroy it? It'd be speculating, but some believe it to be a kind of reset. By destroying what's been corrupted, that would make it pure again. K-1173 leaned back in his chair. The bright side to all this is that they are giving us time. The Beyonders are waiting for something to happen. What that is, we don't know. But the clock is ticking. As a last resort, a team will be assembled. We're recruiting from across the entire multiverse, seeking the best-suited candidates to help us during this incursion. The projection now showed images of dozens of heroes, variants of Chala, Wanda, Stephen Strange and Thanos. Many of them he didn't recognize, a man named Reed Richards, another wearing a green, hooded cloak with an iron mask covering his face, or the guy in the red suit and katanas. But Naruto's eyes stayed on one face in particular. His hair was shorter, and he was wearing a strange black and blue uniform with a bold red X plastered on his chest, but it was him. Sasuke Uchiha. Sasuke will be on the team? Naruto asked. K1173 nodded. A variant of him, yes. The projection now showed a full 3D image of this Sasuke. His Sharingan eyes pierced through the hologram. Sasuke Uchiha of Earth 10. In this universe, he was the one sent to Earth instead of you. Kakashi explained. He's one of Earth 10's finest heroes. Naruto couldn't help but smile. His attention eventually shifted to K1173. He laughed. This is so bizarre seeing you again. Seeing you like this. It feels like a dream. K1173 smiled sadly. I know. He leaned forward. If it helps you feel any better, it's a bizarre experience for me too. How'd you end up working for these guys? Naruto asked. When we were fighting Kaguya, Sasuke sent you, Sakura and myself away. I landed on Earth, crash-landed in an Irish pub. The TVA picked me up and I guess they saw some use for me. They suppressed my memories, made me an agent, and I've worked for them ever since. But you remember who you were now? Naruto asked. K1173 nodded. There was a bit of a mix-up at the TVA recently. I managed to get my memories back in that time. Naruto eyed him skeptically. And you're still with them? Even after all that? The agent waved off the concern. We cleaned house. The people responsible for it are no longer in power. He shrugged. And what can I say? I've always been a loyal soldier. The projector zapped off. K1173 put the device back in his pocket and got up from his chair. Walking over to Naruto, he rested a hand on his shoulder. No one will force you to join. You're not the first Naruto we've asked, and if you say no, you won't be the last. But please consider what is at stake. It isn't just your world. It's everyone's everywhere. K1173 patted Naruto on the shoulder before walking away. A portal opened in front of him. Stopping just before he entered, K1173 turned to address Naruto one more time. It's always good to see you, Naruto. He closed his eyes and gave a smile Naruto had never seen without the face mask. I left a little gift in your pocket. Call me if you want to talk. With that, the TVA agent stepped through doorway, the portal closing behind him. Naruto reached into his pocket to find what looked like a pager with the TVA logo. Shaking his head, he said to himself. He always was smooth. If it's not one thing, it's another, huh? Kurama asked. Naruto rubbed his neck as he looked the TVA pager over. Pretty much. What are you going to do? Putting the pager in his pocket, Naruto shrugged. First things first, I gotta check on Owen. Forming a hand seal, Naruto summoned his prosthetic arm. Putting it in place, Naruto clicked the arm in. He flexed his arm and gripped his hand to make sure everything was connected. It would be cool to see Sasuke again, even if it isn't really him, Naruto said to himself. Naruto could hear Kurama scoff in his mind. He'd be as big a pain as the one you knew. Naruto laughed. Yeah, probably. Peter Quill, in his boxers, a pair of ankle-high socks and a tank top that reads, MTV Spring Break 87. Slid along the floor of the buoy as Jamiroquai's canned heat blasted over the ship's PA system. Quill pulled off a series of random dance moves, from the Alf to the Carlton. Turning around, he froze when he saw Naruto standing in the corridor. The shinobi fought back a grin as Peter tried to come off as if there was nothing to see. Hey there. Quill began to say, only to realize the music was still playing on the PA. Pause the music. The music stopped at his command. Naruto folded his arms over his chest, leaning against the wall. Should I have called ahead? Yes, actually. Quill answered. Naruto looked around. I'm gonna guess it's just you up here. What made you think that? Quill quipped. Naruto shrugged. I need to talk to Owen. I didn't see him on nowhere. Where is he? Quill started, not sure what to say. He isn't here. He left a while ago. He quit the Guardians? Naruto asked. Quill nodded. Ileana and him got into it a few months back. He quit after that. So, Ileana is still part of the team? Her and Jen, yeah? They're on Bari 4 with everyone else. Why didn't anyone tell me? I figured Ileana told you. Quill answered, holding his hands up defensively. Naruto rubbed his face. Where is he? I need to talk to him. We dropped him off on Tenchi. Quill said. After a second, he asked, Can I go put some pants on, man? Naruto gave Quill a deadpan look. Nobody's stopping you. Quill hurried out the corridor. Naruto stayed back. So why the hell are you out here on your own? He questioned. From his quarters, Quill shouted, I was getting together with some old Ravager buddies from back in the day. They were telling me about this planet we'd go to fence some stuff every now and then. Apparently it's gone. Gone? As, in poof, no longer there. Quill elaborated as he walked out of his room dressed in his usual leather pants. You sure those guys aren't morons and just couldn't find it? Questioned Naruto skeptically. Oh, they're definitely morons, Quill assured. But they were in the right place. The planet was gone, no trace. Only thing left behind was a trail of cosmic energy. Huh. Naruto muttered thoughtfully. Yeah, so I figured the Guardians would check it out, see what's what. Quill looked Naruto up and down. You could join us if you want. Be good to see Ileana and Jen, right? Sure, I might, Naruto said. Depends on how this goes. Quill, seeing Naruto's hesitation, moved on. Want a ride to Tenchi? There's a jump point not too far from here. You sure? It's kinda out of the way, Naruto warned. Quill walked past Naruto towards the cockpit. A Star-Lord and Maelstrom adventure sounds good to me. Just like the good old days. Naruto laughed as he followed Quill into the cockpit. The last adventure we had, we ended up in Kree custody for days. Don't make it sound like that wasn't a blast when we both know it was, Quill chided. Getting in the pilot's seat, he began to set a series of coordinates. Tenchi, here we come. Naruto's homeworld, designated Tenchi by Nova Corp's Imperial Planetary Census, sat just outside the borders of the former Nova Empire. The planet was of average size, just smaller than Earth. Half a dozen continents littered the planet, all of them surrounded by ocean that shined a brilliant blue. A massive warship that resembled an arrowhead slowly descended over Tenchi, casting a pointed shadow on the glowing marble. Within the ship's observation deck, a cloaked soldier watched from the viewing screen as the ship approached the planet. The soldier was wearing a cowled mask over their face that hid their identity. Home sweet home, Warbird. Warbird turned to find a handsome, dark-haired man in red and blue armor approaching them. His eyes were constantly pouring a smoldering energy, like the power of a star was leaking from them. Turning back to the view screen, Warbird said softly, Chandler is my home now, Vulcan. I haven't been here in years. Vulcan grinned, patting the shorter soldier on the back. Nothing ever really beats the throne world, does it? Was coming here necessary? Warbird quickly changed the subject. This seems like a detour. You know how the princess can be, she's never excited to come home after a successful expedition. She craves adventure, Vulcan exclaimed proudly. She craves battle, Warbird corrected. Are you any different? Warbird didn't answer. Vulcan grinned dangerously. We are members of the Imperial Guard. Battle runs through our veins. We should be happy that our charge is so willing to give us the opportunity to cut loose every once in a while. Just be glad that Gladiator isn't here to steal all the glory. Warbird turned and walked away. If fighting is all the Imperial Guard is good for, then the Shi'ar Empire is a sad state of affairs. Vulcan considered Warbird as the cloaked soldier exited the observation deck. As the door closed behind them, he watched the view screen as a dozen Shi'ar shuttlecrafts descended into Tenchi's hemisphere. Chapter 34, Making You a Personal Day. A Shi'ar legionary kept his breathing under control as the shuttlecraft made landfall. To his left and right sat 5 other legionnaires, across from them 6 more. Each of them sat unbothered in their blue and white armor. Their masked cowls shaped like an eagle's beak hid their expressions as they focused on what came after landing. The legionary gripped his rifle tighter as a green light blinked overhead, the shuttle bay door hissing open, daylight flooding into the compartment. Simultaneously, the 12 Shi'ar foot soldiers stood up and turned to face out toward the descending door. As the bay door planted itself securely on the ground, the legionnaires marched out of the shuttlecraft. Rifles ready on their shoulders, each soldier quickly moved into formation as they marched toward Konohagakure. Rows upon rows of wheat fields swayed on the wind, the golden crops glowing against the morning sun. Standing next to a cluster of wheat stacks, Talos wiped his olive-colored brow as a scroll crop bot harvested the grain. As he fixed his straw hat, he looked out across the purple sky that was accented by clouds that were so orange they looked aflame. Talos' moment of peace was shattered when he noticed several dozen dots crossing that horizon. Sprinting as hard as his feet could take, Talos ran to the ranch house that sat on the hill a quarter-mile away. As he neared the house, he saw his daughter, Jaya, sitting on the porch. When Jaya saw her father running desperately towards her, she stood up to see what was wrong. Jaya! Talos shouted. Jaya, get your mother now! The scroll woman did as she was told, running off to the barn next door to get her mother who was working inside. Talos jumped up onto the porch and rushed into the house. In the living room, he pressed his hand against the wall. With a whir, the wall opened to reveal rows of varying weapons hanging. Grabbing 2 pistols and a rifle, Talos hurried outside. On the porch, he waited for Jaya and his wife, Soren, to reach the porch. Handing Soren a pistol and Jaya the rifle, he said to his daughter, "Get inside the house. Don't make a move until I say so." Father dash. Soren cut Jaya off. "Do as you're told, girl. Stay quiet." Despite wanting to argue, Jaya goes inside. Soren and Talos softly embrace one another, nestling their foreheads together lovingly. Separating, they prepped their weapons before tucking them under their clothes and waited as a squad of Shi'ar soldiers marched towards the house. The legionnaires came to halt a few feet away from the Skrull family's porch. The commanding officer, designated by the yellow bar on his collar, stepped forward. The officer pressed his finger on the back of his cowl, causing the mask's visor to pop up to reveal a thin, hawkish face. The legionary officer smiled pleasantly. "Good morning," he said casually. Talos put up a smile. "Morning," he returned. "Do you know who we are?" The Skrull farmer pretended to think for a moment. "Legionnaires of the Shi'ar Empire." "That is correct. My name is Captain Sulla. I am here on behalf of the Shi'ar Royal Highness, Kalsi Narimani," Sulla said formally, giving an open palm salute across his chest. "How can we help you?" Soren asked with a clipped pleasantness. Sulla stepped forward. "We've been sent to investigate recent activity within the Shi'ar Empire. Last I checked," Talos began sternly, "Tenchi wasn't a part of the Shi'ar Empire. It is now," Sulla stated matter-of-factly. "Highness Kalsi declared it so just yesterday." Talos scoffed. "The Skrull have lived on this planet peacefully for nearly 7 years." As his voice got heated, Soren grabbed his arm. Taking a deep breath, Talos continued. "We are under the protection of Earth's Carol Danvers and Naruto Uzumaki." With a quizzical look, Sulla asked, "And who would that be?" "We're not leaving," Soren said firmly. Sulla raised up his hands. "You have the wrong idea." Pulling out a touchpad, he showed them the screen which had an image of the planet where a single blip appeared. "While monitoring the planet, we noticed a consistent ping of energy being released around this area. We don't know anything about that," Talos said shortly. The officer sighed as he put the pad away. "We only wish to speak with them. The Royal Highness has a vested interest in recruiting extraordinary beings from across the galaxy. To be sponsored by the royal family of Shi'ar is the highest honor," Sulla explained with conviction. "We're farmers, we keep to ourselves," Soren said. As she did, the pistol she'd been hiding behind her back accidentally came into view for Sulla, who barely reacted. Sulla taking another step forward, so he was now standing just in front of the Skrull family's porch, said with a hint of authoritative menace, "Believe me when I say you do not want to make this difficult. We will find them. I have dozens of squadrons searching the area as we speak. We will search this farmstead, we will search the nearby villages, we will search every nook and cranny of this planet until we find what we are looking for. If you are cooperative with us, I am sure the Royal Highness will be willing to look the other way in regard to a band of Skrull refugees squatting on her newly claimed planet. If not, well, I cannot say she would be too keen." His eyes went to Soren. "And if I think for a moment that either of you will harm my men or myself, I will have you both placed under imperial arrest." With that cold warning, the Skrulls and Shi'ar enter a tense standoff. After a couple sweat-inducing seconds, Talos smiled. "I guess there really is nowhere for us." Talos reached for the pistol tucked behind his back, only to stop when an orange blur swept past, sweeping Sulla up with it as it did. The Skrull and remaining Shi'ar looked around in confusion. One of the legionnaires raised her rifle toward Talos. "Where is he?" she demanded. "I don't know," a bewildered Talos answered. Suddenly, from above, they could hear someone screaming. As the sound grew louder, they looked up to see Sulla falling from the sky, hitting the ground on his back right where he had been standing. The legionnaires went to check on the downed officer. Seeing that he was unconscious, they looked around frantically for whatever it was that attacked him. As they swung their rifles around, the weapons were engulfed in a purple energy. Before they could think anything of it, the rifles were yanked out of their hands and levitated out of reach over their heads. As they looked up in shock, 6 of the 12 legionnaires were hit with small circular gadgets that clung to their armor like magnets. A strong pulse of electricity sprung from the gadgets, tossing the 6 soldiers to the ground. The other 6, before they knew what hit them, were grabbed up and slammed to the ground by 6 giant hands made of orange chakra. Dropping from above, his aero rig slowing his fall, Star-Lord landed next to the knocked-out legionnaires with a chuckle. Star-Lord asked as he pressed the button on the side of his helmet, the mask retracting to reveal his face. The man was wearing a blue and red uniform with the Guardians of the Galaxy logo emblazoned on the chest. Landing next to him, Naruto looked around at the squad of incapacitated legionnaires. "What the hell are the Shi'ar doing on Tenchi?" he asked. The blonde was wearing a black and blue track suit, his right hand wrapped in bandages. "They're here for Owen," Soren answered. "What?" Naruto asked, bewildered. Talos walked down his porch and embraced Naruto. "Good timing, brother." Naruto returned the gesture. "What's going on, Talos? It's not like the Shi'ar to be this hostile." The two separated. "These seem like a different brand of Shi'ar. They said they're here on behalf of Kelsey Naramani," Talos said. "Oh shit." Quill breathed. "You know her?" Naruto asked. Quill nodded as he said, "Never met her before, only know her by reputation. She's bad news. Oldest daughter of Magister Naramani. Ever since Nova collapsed, she's been picking up their real estate ever since. Between her and the Kree, there's barely any of the Nova Empire left." Talos looked at Naruto grimly. "That officer said she had annexed Tenchi yesterday." The air around Naruto shifted as he narrowed his eyes. The hell it was. Jaya walked out the farmhouse, her eyes lighting up when she saw Naruto. Her appearance quickly shifted to resemble a human woman around Naruto's age with shoulder-length brunette hair. "Naruto," she said excitedly. Naruto dropped his anger for his usual smile. "Long time no see, Jaya." Jaya ran over to Naruto and gave him a loving hug. "Too long, brother," she corrected with a laugh. "We have to go check on New Skrullos, the Shi'ar are there as well." Soren cut in, giving Jaya a look. Placing his hand on Jaya's shoulder, Naruto said to Soren, "I sent clones over to New Skrullos and Tarnax. One of them talked to Drog and Gravik. Everything's under control." Soren and Talos sighed with relief. Resting an arm over his wife's shoulder, Talos said, "Owen has been staying in your old village. I told him that you asked that place be off limits, but he insisted." Naruto groaned. "Great. What's he doing there?" "We don't know," Soren answered. "He's doing something though. The Shi'ar said he has been emitting a constant pulse of energy. That's probably what got their attention on Tenchi in the first place." Rubbing his face, Naruto said, "Fantastic. First thing is finding Owen. Then we see what the Shi'ar want with him and Tenchi." "How exactly are we gonna do that?" Quill asked. "We gonna sneak in like Luke and Han or something? That's an Earth reference, right?" Soren asked Talos. Talos nodded. "Star Wars," he said with a dramatic sigh. "Oh," Soren muttered dismissively. Naruto ignored their bickering as he eyed the legionnaires thoughtfully. "There's something about these guys. I swear I can sense actual chakra coming from them," he thought. "It isn't that preposterous to think that other life forms in the universe use chakra," Kurama said within the seal. "The Otsutsuki clan planted the god tree on countless planets across dimensions. The Shi'ar could be one of them. Maybe. All I know is that I need answers." As the group continued to talk, an idea came to Naruto. Star-Lord recognized the look in his eye. "Hey man, I was just kidding. You're not seriously thinking about it, are you?" Naruto smiled deviously. Warbirds stood on the boundary walls of Konoha, the village hidden in the leaves, a soft breeze brushing against them as they gazed across the village as the morning sun hung just over the Hokage monument. No longer covered by the tree roots of the nativity of a world of trees, and its buildings and roads restored to their old glory, it was like no time had passed at all. "Incredible," Warbird breathed. "It hasn't changed a bit." A legionary officer jumped up onto the top of the wall next to Warbird, saluting as she said, "Sir, the target has been found." "Excellent," the Imperial Guard complimented. "Have we made contact?" "Yes, sir," the officer answered. "The target complied to our request without incident. He is being boarded onto a shuttle as we speak. Go and ensure his transportation goes smoothly. We've been here long enough as it is," Warbird commanded. "Yes, sir," the officer said before delivering a farewell salute. Jumping down the boundary wall, the legionary ran toward the northern district of the village. Running across the rooftops of the hidden village, the commander noticed two legionnaires standing in the street talking. Dropping down, the officer approached them with authority. "Privates, at attention!" she shouted. The two froze, both delivering an awkward set of salutes. The officer tilted her head thoughtfully. "Privates, name your squad." The legionary on the left struggled to answer, eventually going quiet when he realized he didn't have one. Pointing at the pair of soldiers, the officer growled. "I almost didn't catch it, but you, to the left. I can't sense an ounce of soul from you. And you," she points to the legionary to the right. "You have some of the most soul I've ever felt in my life." Quill, the legionary to the left, slumped his shoulders in defeat. "I told you this was a stupid idea." Naruto, the legionary to the right, laughed as he rubbed his head bashfully. "In my defense, I never imagined they could sense us like that." "Who are you?" the commander demanded. Quill was cut off from answering by Naruto grabbing him and jumping out of the way as a streak of lightning crashed down where they had been standing, destroying the ground where they had just been. Quill looked up at Naruto, annoyed, only to drop it when he saw Naruto staring at the smoking crater. Even with his face covered by the Shiar legionary helmet, he could feel the man's shock. "What is it?" "That was chakra," Naruto said in disbelief. "I'm sure of it now. These guys use chakra." "Oh?" Quill breathed. "Oh shit." Standing up, Naruto said, "You need to get out of here." "No arguing there." Quill agreed, immediately activating his arrow rig, the device propelling him into the air. Warbird walked out of the crater they had created, dusting the soot off their shoulder. "Take off that uniform," the Imperial Guard commanded. "You don't deserve to bear our pride." Scoffing, Naruto said, "I'll take off the uniform the second you let go of my friend." "Friend?" "The guy you just kidnapped," Naruto clarified sharply. Shaking their head, Warbird said, "He came with us willingly." Naruto laughed. "Like I believe that. Just give him back." "I don't want to hurt you." It was Warbird's turn to laugh. "Hurt me?" That'd be the day. Not able to resist the urge to bicker, Naruto's face sneered competitively behind the mask. "You wanna go?" Seemingly feeling the same, Warbird shot back. "Anytime you're ready." Naruto's answer was interrupted by a magnificent force of energy that slammed into him, sending him careening through Konoha and over the boundary wall, crash landing in a training ground that was just outside of the village. Bouncing off the ground before rolling to a stop, Naruto jumped up to his feet, hands up for another surprise attack. The attack never came, instead that same energy slamming into the training ground, shattering the ground on impact. Walking out of the smoking crater, Vulcan's smoldering eyes glowed from within the foggy veil. "Look at all that energy," Vulcan said with excitement. "And it's just like hers." Confused, Naruto asked, "Hers?" Charging forward, Vulcan threw a punch toward Naruto's face. Surprised by the man's speed, Naruto barely ducked out of the way. Skipping back, Naruto weaved through a set of hand signs before breathing out a gust of wind at the man. Vulcan didn't move, allowing the attack to hit him head-on, only it never hit, the gust parting around Vulcan and hitting the tree line behind him, the jutsu shredding the trees to pieces. "What the?" Naruto wondered aloud, though he wasn't able to think on it for long as Vulcan was on top of him again, delivering a flurry of punches and kicks with incredible force and speed. Wanting to get some distance, Naruto channeled a current of lightning chakra into his arm. Thrusting it out, the lightning charged at Vulcan in the shape of a wolf. Once again, right as the attack was about to hit, the lightning swerved around him and missed completely. "Damn it!" the shinobi cursed. Vulcan cracked a smile. "She told me I would have been your people's worst nightmare. All you ever use is soul to fight." "Or what did she call it?" "That's right, chakra." He laughed. "But that wasn't the chakra I want. I want what I felt is deep in there. I can feel it. It's like nothing I've ever felt before." A blast of heat emanated off Vulcan as a solar-like energy began to pour out of him, turning the man into what felt and looked like a walking star. "Stop holding back," Vulcan demanded. "I want to feel that chakra of yours before we put the band on you." Scoffing, Naruto began to channel his sage cloak. "Be careful, brat," Kurama warned. "I haven't felt this much chakra since I don't know when." Naruto grinned with excitement. "I know," Naruto thought back. "Amazing, right? Now isn't the time to be excited," Kurama scolded. "I can't help it," Naruto thought gleefully. It's been years since I've felt this kind of chakra. And here, of all places, I can't help but feel excited right now. Dropping the floodgate to his seal, Naruto wrapped himself in the form of the Six Paths Sage cloak, the orange chakra brimming around him with excitement. That's it, Vulcan confirmed. Giving Naruto a quick appraisal, he said, "The Imperial Guard is always open to someone with this kind of power." "So were the Nova Corps and Kree Star Force," responded Naruto arrogantly. "I'm a genin of the village hidden in the leaves, and that's all I'll ever be." "I can respect that," Vulcan said. Shifting into a wider fighting stance, he signaled Naruto to come. Not needing another invitation, Naruto shot toward Vulcan like a fiery cannonball, the two of them hitting each other with enough force the ground exploded beneath them, a shockwave tearing the surrounding trees from their roots, wind gusting over the forest like a hurricane. Naruto slugged Vulcan in the face, the man taking the hit and giving one of his own into the shinobi's stomach. Their dance continued, moving so fast they were a blur of orange energy to the naked eye. Every hit was like another explosion, the blast waves rocking the area like a war zone. As they collided in the air, Naruto grappled with Vulcan, shoving his hand in his face and forcing their positions so that Vulcan's head was toward the ground as they fell. Crashing through the forest, Naruto gauged out a deep crevice through the earth using Vulcan's face to dig it out. Having enough of the abuse, Vulcan expelled a wave of soul out at Naruto, knocking him into the air. Before Naruto could correct himself, Vulcan hit him with a solid beam of orange energy, the man directing the beam as it carried Naruto into the ground, driving him through like a nail. Pulling himself out of the ground, Naruto spat out a glob of dirt and grass. "Ow," he said. "This man's energy output is ridiculous. It's like fighting another perfect Jinchuriki," Kurama analyzed. Naruto stood up, looking up to see Vulcan hovering right above him. Scrunching his face in thought, he said, "Luckily, he doesn't seem like he's wanting to kill me or anything, otherwise we'd have probably blown this whole forest to hell already. What's the point then?" Bending his knees, Naruto hunched down into a low crouch. Building chakra through his legs, the blonde then launched himself into the air toward Vulcan, flying so fast he left an orange streak behind him. Vulcan kicked off in midair toward him hard enough to break the sound barrier. The two collided, locking hands as the force of their impact rocked the forest below them. The two men grappled against one another, each trying to get leverage over the other. As they locked eyes, Vulcan's grin grew wider. From Naruto's hands, chakra began to be pulled toward Vulcan. Naruto was then horrified to suddenly feel his chakra cloak sucked away, the energy funneling into Vulcan until eventually disappearing completely. "Ooh, that was even better than I imagined," Vulcan complimented, as Naruto's own chakra began to emanate off the Imperial Guard like a fanned flame. Before the shinobi could react, Vulcan overpowered him with ease and threw him at the forest floor like a sack of potatoes. Naruto crashed into the ground, his body cratering the earth around him. Vulcan, admiring the chakra he'd just taken, said, "I guess playtime is over." Slowly descending to where Naruto had landed, he watched as the man pulled himself out of the ground. Mostly unharmed, Naruto glared up at Vulcan curiously. "What the hell was that?" Naruto demanded. "A power of mine," Vulcan said simply. Naruto was about to yell a response when the sound of 1,000 birds filled the forest. A shocked Naruto turned to see Warbird, their right hand covered in a Chidori, falling on Naruto with incredible speed. The blonde barely had time to dodge, jumping into the air as Warbird slicing their hand into the ground, the Chidori arching through the earth in a pulse of thick electricity. Standing up, Warbird wordlessly tracked Naruto as he jumped onto a tree branch above them. "What the hell is going on?" Naruto questioned aloud, his face pale behind the legionary mask. Vulcan softly landed next to Warbird, Naruto's energy having dispersed. "Took you long enough," Vulcan chided. "I was securing the other one," Warbird explained, their eyes never leaving Naruto. "I felt a large amount of soul coming from here." "Was that from him?" "Like you wouldn't believe," Vulcan said. He smiled knowingly. "He fights like you." "Excuse me?" Warbird asked. "He uses soul like you. A lot of it. Uses those fancy moves too," Vulcan explained. Warbird acknowledged him for a second before turning their attention back to Naruto. "You're mistaken. No one can fight like me." Vulcan chuckled at the remark knowingly. "Bring a soul band?" he asked. Reaching behind their cloak, Warbird pulled out a small, metallic cuff. "The Royal Highness was made aware of him. She wants him brought to her alive." That's what I figured, Vulcan said, powering up his soul as he did. Naruto watched them talk, still trying to figure out what was going on. There's no way. There's no way that was him. They're dead. They're all dead. He's dead. Naruto thought to himself rapidly. Get it together, damn it! Kurama bellowed in his head. If it is him, you need to be ready. Naruto had no more time to think as Warbird was quickly on top of him, flipping midair to deliver a heel kick on Naruto's head. Naruto jumped back, the kick shattering the branch he had been perched on like it was nothing. Retreating, Naruto had no time to react before Vulcan barreled into him full force, plowing him through half a dozen trees before slamming him to the ground. Vulcan moved back, out of the way as Warbird dropped down from above, their hand wrapped in chakra. The attack detonated the ground, rippling the earth and gauging it apart. At the epicenter, Warbird quickly realized their target had slipped away. Looking around, they heard the twirl of chakra being summoned. Spinning over, Warbird halted when they saw the legionary disguised Naruto race toward them with a Rasengan in hand. Rasengan! Naruto chanted as he charged in. Warbird stood their ground, stunned. Naruto? Naruto froze. His Rasengan dissipated as he stared at Warbird in disbelief. What did you say? Naruto asked, his voice shaken. Warbird reached their hand to the back of their helmet, about to raise their face mask when Vulcan dropped down next to them, shooting the soul band at Naruto. Naruto jumped back to dodge the band, but the speeding device tracked his movement, clasping around his left wrist. The mechanism locked around his wrist tightly, giving off a quick hum before Naruto felt all his chakra be cut off all at once. His knees suddenly going weak, Naruto stumbled to keep his footing. He looked at the soul band. What hell? Kurama, do you feel this? He thought. There was no answer. As panic crept into his chest, Vulcan appeared in front of him faster than his eyes could track him, punching him square in the jaw. The unconscious Naruto was knocked to the ground. Naruto! Warbird cried with worry, running to his side. Lifting his head up, Warbird took off the cowl covering Naruto's face. Warbird gently touched Naruto's cheek, as if to make sure he was real. As they checked him over, Vulcan asked, I didn't kill him, did I? Warbird did not answer at first, only reacting as a Shi'ar shuttlecraft swooped down and landed in the clearing. They stayed next to Naruto as they said, No one touches him until I speak to him. Understood? Vulcan looked at Warbird, puzzled. What was he to you? He asked. He was a friend. Chapter 35, Living Dead Girl. Kanehigakure, soaked from a fresh morning rain, awoke smelling of tree leaves and damp earth, the morning sun casting a warm haze over the village as its people began a new day. A shopkeeper swept in front of his shop, a young housekeeper opened a bedroom shoji door to air out a pair of futons, and a gang of young students rushed to the village's shinobi academy. A 12-year-old Naruto, perched on a tall light pole in the middle of the village, reared his head back with both hands cupping his mouth. Wake up, Konoha! He shouted gleefully. From a fair distance away, the voice of an older man was heard shouting back. For the love of all that is good, shut the hell up, Naruto! Naruto laughed mischievously and was about to shout back when he heard someone below him yell. Naruto, stop being annoying and get down here! We're gonna be late! Looking down the light pole, Naruto saw Sakura and Sasuke standing beneath him. Sakura, the one who shouted, had her arms folded across her chest and was giving him a disapproving look. Sasuke couldn't be bothered, leaning against the pole like he didn't have a care in the world. Dropping down next to them, Naruto folded his arms behind his head as he said, Morning, Sakura! Why do you do that, Naruto? Sakura asked. Don't you know people hate it? Of course, Naruto said with a sagely nod. I gotta remind everybody I'm around every once in a while, otherwise they might forget about me. A Hokage's always gotta be on people's minds, right? Sakura gave him a puzzled look. I think you're going about it wrong. Naruto shrugged. Whatever, those lazy bastards needed to wake up anyway. If Kakashi's gonna make me wake up this early, everyone else ought to. Sasuke sighed, pushing off the pole and walked past his teammates toward the mission building a few blocks away. Idiot! Sasuke said to Naruto under his breath as he walked past. An annoyed Naruto turned to Sasuke, waving his fist at him as he shouted. Say that a little louder, I couldn't hear it over you shaking in your sandals. Sasuke stopped, turning his head to glare at Naruto. Sakura, seeing another fight was about to break out, stepped in between them. Come on guys, we're super late as it is. Kakashi-sensei told us he would be on time for once. Sasuke held the glare for another second, before scoffing as he kept walking. Naruto squinted his eyes into a glare as he watched Sasuke walk away. Looking at Sakura, he said, "You didn't have to do that. I could have taken him." Sakura sighed, giving Naruto a scolding glare. "You two fight almost every other day, and every time he beats the crap out of you. When will you take the hint, Naruto? He's stronger than you, and he probably always will be." Naruto scoffed childishly. "You don't know that." Sakura's glare grew softer. "Some people are just like that, Naruto. Sasuke, Kakashi-sensei, even Lord Third. What's the point of fighting someone like that if you know they're going to win every time?" Naruto was suddenly uncharacteristically serious. "Because every time I fight him, I make him try a little harder. He might keep beating me, but he has to try harder every time. And eventually I'll put him on his ass." Sakura couldn't help but look at Naruto with a little awe. "You really think so?" Naruto shoved his hands in his pockets and began to walk after Sasuke. "Believe it." As he got a few feet away, he said, "Come on, Sakura, we're gonna be late, right?" Sakura, shaking her head, ran after her teammates. Sasuke, who'd heard the whole conversation, couldn't help but smile at his teammates' confidence. Naruto groaned as he woke up, his head groggy and his left eye throbbing. Resting a hand to his eye, he winced as his fingers touched it. Cursing, Naruto forced himself on his elbows and looked around the room, his eyes adjusting to the harsh lighting. Looking around, he realized he was in a kind of infirmary, the sterile white walls and floor gleaming from the bright ceiling lights. Sitting up, Naruto swung his legs over the bed. As he did, he noticed he was wearing a cyan blue jumpsuit that was cut off at his elbows and claves. Feeling something on his arm, Naruto saw the soul band sitting on his wrist. Giving it a testing pull, he confirmed that the band was tightly secured around his wrist. A voice over a PA system in the room suddenly spoke. "I wouldn't recommend messing with that. Your soul is completely cut off while it's on. If you try to force it off, the arm goes with it." "Where am I?" Naruto demanded. When he got no answer, Naruto rested his bare feet on the white tile floor. As he was about to stand up off the bed, the voice over the PA system said, "Please remain where you are. The doctor will be in to see you shortly." "Doctor?" Naruto wondered. The hospital room's doors slid open with a soft thunk, revealing Warbird standing in the frame. Naruto jumped on his feet, ready to defend himself, only to feel a sharp zap of red-hot energy flood into his body from the soul band. Dropping to a knee, it took all his strength not to collapse entirely. Warbird stepped into the room. "That's enough," they commanded firmly. The energy surge stopped at Warbird's command. Naruto, on shaky legs, stood up, glaring defiantly at the Imperial Guard as they walked further into the room. Stopping just a few feet away, Warbird simply stared at Naruto, the two looking at one another for what felt like an eternity. Finally, Warbird said, "I thought it just me. For so long." Naruto squinted his eyes in confusion. "Who the hell are you? You kind of fight like a friend of mine did, but it's a shitty bastardization. Call it a homage, I guess," Warbird said lightly. "I tried teaching myself some of your moves too, I just don't have the chakra for most of them." "What?" Warbird looked at Naruto for a moment longer, their shoulders starting to shake. "I can't believe you're here in front of me right now. This feels like a dream," they said, their voice breaking. Naruto watched as Warbird reached for their helmet, pressing a button at the nape of their neck that caused the whole mask to retract away from their head. Naruto's eyes widened as a pair of familiar green eyes met his. Tears tracked down Sakura Haruno's smiling face. "I miss you, knucklehead," she said softly. Naruto couldn't speak. He couldn't think. Couldn't breathe. In the 15 years since he'd last seen any of his friends, he'd seen versions of them before, in dreams, illusions, variations. But none of them were really them. But this was her. He didn't know why, he didn't care how. Is it really you?" Naruto asked in shock. "This isn't like you from an alternate reality or some android, or zombie or something? It's really you." Sakura laughed, a sound that brought tears to Naruto's eyes. "It's me, Naruto. It's really me. Is it really you?" She could barely finish her question before Naruto barreled into her, hugging her with everything he had. At first surprised, Sakura could feel Naruto shaking against her. Wrapping her arms around him, the two let themselves cry against each other. Vulcan marched down a corridor of the Shiar warship flanked by a pair of legionnaires. They stopped at a decadently designed door with the Shi'ar royal emblem emblazoned in red across the frame. 2 members of the Imperial Guard, Astra and Impulse, guarded the door. Astra, a beautiful woman with yellow eyes and blood-red hair, wore a red and yellow Imperial Guard uniform similar to Vulcan's. Impulse, a tall man with an athletic build, wore a red and white uniform that resembled Warbird's without the cloak. Vulcan delivered an Imperial salute, folding his forearm across his chest with a closed fist. Astra and Impulse returned the gesture, giving the senior guard a respectful nod before stepping aside. The door opened, allowing Vulcan to enter. His legionnaires stayed in the corridor, the door shutting behind him. Walking into the warmly lit room, Vulcan reached the center of the chamber. The walls and floors around him were decorated in swaths of varying shades of violet, lit candles littering the walls and ceiling. The personal chamber wafted off a seductive aura, drawing the weak-willed in like a fly trap. Bewitchingly sprawled on a chaise lounge before Vulcan, Kelsey Narimani beamed at her personal guard warmly. The woman, like every member of the royal family, had sharp, feather-like hair that was raven's black. Her beautiful face, soft and delicate, was contrasted by her lifeless white eyes that sung a cruel song. Draped in a dark purple gown that deliberately revealed her gorgeous figure, Kelsey swung her bare legs over the lounge so she could address Vulcan fully. "Enjoy your workout, Gabriel?" Kelsey purred. Getting on his right knee, Vulcan gave an imperial salute. "I most definitely did, Your Highness." The royal laughed. "Drop the pleasantries, Gabriel, we're alone." Standing up, she sashayed closer to the kneeling guard. "Of course, Your Highness," Vulcan said resolutely. "How was he?" Kelsey asked huskily. "Impressive," Vulcan answered. "If Warbird hadn't distracted him, I think the fight could have gone either way. He has a reservoir of power beneath the bit he showed." "Warbird," Kelsey said with disdain. "It still burns me that I had to borrow her from my sister at all. But in the end, it worked out for the better. Now I may just have found a warrior as strong as Lilandra's gladiator." Vulcan nodded. "He may have something to say about that." Kelsey's smile crept up. "I'll see to that. What of Warbird? What is her relationship with this man?" "Apparently they were childhood friends before she came to Chandler. They're survivors of the Tenchi annihilation," Vulcan answered. Kelsey shook her head. "Only 2 survivors of the Tenchi annihilation. A cruel shame," she said, though there wasn't any actual feeling behind it. Returning to her lounge, she reclined on the sofa. Her familiarity with him could be to our benefit. Inform her she is to use this to our advantage. Making this Naruto a part of my Imperial Guard is of immense value to me. Understood? "She has been made aware, Your Highness," Vulcan said. Kelsey's smile grew deeper as her eyes shined a seductive glow. "Now come fulfill your other duties to Your Highness, Gabriel," she commanded breathily. "Yes, Your Highness." Sakura's hand, encased in a green haze of healing chakra, gently covered Naruto's purple, swollen eye. Naruto sighed with relief. "You've still got it, Sakura." The pinkette smiled at the compliment. "I've been out of practice while stationed on this ship," she said. Naruto hummed thoughtfully. "So you're not usually with these guys?" "No, not usually. I guess you could say I'm here on retainer," Sakura explained. "What did they need you here for?" Naruto asked, curious. "When I arrived on Chandler, the Shi'ar were at war with the Brotherhood of Badin. I guess I built a bit of a reputation during the war," Sakura answered with a light tone. "What kind of a reputation?" "The Imperial Guard call sign given to me is Warbird," Sakura elaborated. A laughing snort escaped from Naruto before he could stop it. "Sorry, I just couldn't help it," Naruto apologized. Sakura shook her head with a laugh. "It's fine." Lifting her hand away, Sakura nodded at Naruto's freshly healed eye. "There, all done. You're good as new." She paused thoughtfully, looking at Naruto's prosthetic arm. "How did you lose your arm?" Naruto rubbed his neck sheepishly. "Oh, you know me, doing something stupid." Shaking her head, Sakura sat beside Naruto on the bed, their shoulders touching. There was an awkward pause that filled the room with a thick tension. Eventually, Naruto asked gently, "So, he sent you away too?" Sakura nodded. "She was about to kill me when Sasuke used the last of his chakra to send me away. The last thing I saw before the portal closed was Kaguya stabbing him in the chest with that bone attack of hers," she explained solemnly. "I woke up in Chandler the next day." Naruto lowered his head. "Black Zetsu told me she killed you." I should have known he was full of it. He told me the same thing, Sakura said grimly. You talked to Black Setsu? I managed to get back to Tenchi a couple of years later. I found him while looking for survivors. It seemed like he wanted to die. I left him there, Sakura said coldly. I killed him, Naruto assured. Good, Sakura murmured firmly. Naruto couldn't help but laugh. A smile of her own creeping up on her face, Sakura asked. What's so funny? I can't wait to introduce you to everybody on Earth, Naruto answered with excitement. If you think some of these Shiar guys are weird, just wait until you meet some of my friends back home. Back home, Sakura said softly. Naruto, realizing what he'd said, began to elaborate. I guess that's what it is now, after all this time. I don't really think about it anymore. Isn't that sad? Sakura shook her head. I understand. Yeah, said Naruto as he grinned sadly. But Earth is a beautiful place. And never boring, trust me. You'll love it. Quiet for a moment, Sakura eventually stood up and said, We're behind schedule. What do you mean? Naruto asked as he stood up with her. You have been given an audience with Kalsi Narimani, heir apparent to the Shiar throne, Sakura said, her tone professional. Before that, there's somewhere we need to stop first. Naruto was guided into a massive mess hall, the space filled with row after row of tables and chairs. The smell of foreign foods wafted through the hall as several dozen Shiar legionnaires chatted amongst each other while they enjoyed their various meals. With their cowls off, Naruto could see that the legionnaires were made up of over a dozen different races. A good majority of the men and women were Shiar of Chandler, humanoid beings that resembled various avian species. Several dozen were Strentians, men and women with deep purple skin with pointed ears and hair that was black as obsidian. Scattered among the rest were peoples that seemed lupin in nature, others with turquoise-colored skin with white hair and an almost translucent air about them. And those were just the ones he could see in the crowd. Sakura led Naruto through the crowd, with every single person they passed giving the woman an imperial salute. It was here that Naruto saw the respect and reverence these soldiers had for his friend, whose entire persona was now of complete comfort, like she was exactly where she belonged. A melancholic kind of pride swept through Naruto's chest as he watched her interact with her subordinates. She was one of them. Before he could think on it further, a familiar voice shouted through the crowd. Naruto! You came! The crowd parted to reveal Oenri sitting at a table, a dozen plates and bowls filled with an assortment of foods from across the galaxy. Oen, wearing a purple jumper with green highlights along the sides and arms, stuffed his face as he waved Naruto over. The man seemed absolutely jubilant as he indulged in what the Shiar had to offer him. Naruto approached the table, watching as Oen gorged himself. Hey Oen. You doing okay? Oh, I'm fantastic. Have you ever tried Chandler noodle broth? Holy shit, dude, I could go to heaven. You'd love it, Oen said, almost frantically. Maybe slow down, huh? Oen shook his head as he gulped down a bubbling orange drink. Finishing it, he said, It's the damnedest thing. Ever since like a couple weeks ago I've just had this crazy surge of energy. Like I can do anything, but God if it doesn't leave me hungry. Sometimes I feel like I just can't get enough, you know? Naruto felt a pang of concern creep up his gut as he sat down at the table. Oen, we can't stay here. We have to talk, there's a reason you're feeling this way. It's big, Oen. Can't it wait until after dessert? I can get you dessert back on Earth, Oen. Oen seemed to ponder this seriously. I guess if it's important. But what about the Shiar? They said they were gonna make me some kind of imperial something. Promise me all the food I could eat. Naruto looked back at Sakura, who silently observed the conversation. Leave them to me, he said to Oen with a carefree smile. So, we're not leaving now? Naruto shook his head, raising his soul band-covered wrist. I've got some business to take care of here real quick. As soon as that's done, we're out of here. Can I eat all I want until it's time to leave? Sure, Naruto said with a deadpan expression. Oen smiled. Sweet. He began stuffing his face again, not a care in the world. Sakura tapped Naruto on the shoulder. We better get going. Sighing, Naruto stood up from the table. Right. Lead the way. Naruto stood in front of a massive steel double door, the doorway standing twice as tall as he was. Printed in the middle of the two doors was a golden Shiar sigil that resembled the head of an eagle. Sakura nodded to a legionary stationed at the entrance, who saluted before pressing a panel next to the door with their hand. They funneled a specific pulse of soul into the panel, causing the door to open. As the doors slid open in a slow, dramatic fashion, Sakura whispered to him with a side glance. "Kneel when I do." As the doors finally opened completely, Sakura entered the ship's great hall with Naruto not far behind. The great hall was filled with legionary officers who lined the walls at full attention, ceremonial rifles at their sides. The hall was lit by a dozen floating lanterns that were shaped similar to chandeliers, a soft yellow glow filling the room. Hanging on the walls behind the legionnaires were 6 banners that carried the Shiar sigil, though below the sigils were symbols that Naruto assumed represented each division present. At the end of the chamber stood 3 members of the Imperial Guard, Vulcan, Astra, and a towering man wearing an orange and blue Imperial Guard uniform, with a headpiece that wrapped around his forehead. Titan, who stood over 6 feet tall, gave Naruto a skeptical look. Behind the 4 of them, lounging in a sleek, silver throne, was Kaguya herself, adorned in a black and purple battle suit like that of her Imperial Guard. In her right hand was a golden scepter which held a pink gem that hummed with an energy Naruto had never felt before. Sakura stopped a few yards away from the other guards, kneeling in front of them. Naruto awkwardly followed suit. "Behold Kaguya Narimani, heir apparent of the Shiar Empire," Vulcan proclaimed with authority. He looked down at the still kneeling Naruto. "Who stands before her?" Before Naruto could answer, Sakura spoke with a stiff tone. "I bring you Naruto Uzumaki of Tenchi." "And do you represent him, Warbird?" Vulcan asked. "I do," Sakura answered. Naruto looked at Sakura in confusion. "Represent me?" The doors to the halls opened again, a voice bursting out from the entryway. "Hey man, ease up, would ya?" Naruto looked behind him to see Quill wearing a jumpsuit like his and sporting a pair of steel cuffs that locked his hands in place in front of him as he was led into the chamber by Impulse, who pushed the guardian forward. "Quill?" Naruto asked, standing up. Sakura went to stop him, but was too late as Naruto was already walking toward him. "What the hell are you doing here?" "Hell, if I know," Quill said with a nonchalant shrug. As he reached Naruto and Sakura, he was shoved down onto his knees by Impulse, who stood behind him. "Who stands before her?" Vulcan asked again. Impulse nudged Quill. "Getting the hint," he said. "Peter Quill of Earth." Vulcan stepped to the side, allowing Kaguya to be in full view of Naruto and Quill. "You are brought before the Royal Highness on charges of impersonating a Shiar legionary officer. Once found guilty, the punishment will be 20 cycles in the war pits, each." "How do you plead?" Quill answered without hesitation. "Not guilty, your lordship." Impulse punched Quill in the side of his face, sending him to the ground. Looming over him, he seemed ready to give some more punishment when Naruto made his presence known. "Every hit you give him I'll return 100-fold, believe me on that," Naruto promised, his eyes bearing into Impulse. Impulse moved toward Naruto, with Sakura standing up and getting between them. "Enough!" Vulcan bellowed. Impulse backed away from Quill, who spit out a glob of blood on the floor defiantly. Kaguya stood up from her throne, giving a predatory smile as she walked up next to Vulcan, laying a hand on his back. "What vigor!" "Now I see what you were talking about, Vulcan. He would without a doubt make an excellent member of my Imperial Guard." Quill blinked. "Me?" The royal glowered down at the bloodied Quill with derision. "No." Her hungry eyes swept over Naruto. "Him." Naruto was silent as Kaguya walked toward him, her Imperial Guard close behind. "Is it true you knew our little warbird in the past?" Naruto's answer was a simple yes. Kaguya's grin grew wider. "And is it true that you're the maelstrom of the Alpha Quadrant? That you slayed the Mad Titan and destroyed the Infinity Stones with a snap of your fingers?" Naruto, felling all eyes on the room on him, puffed out his chest as he looked Kaguya in the eye. "It is." Kaguya burst out in childish laughter, clapping her hands together with elation. "What a catch! Is it true what they say about you? That you can fight a celestial to a standstill? Take off the cuff and I'll show you. I don't usually let go of my prey. Where's the fun? Why am I here?" Kaguya turned to Sakura. "Warbird, how does he plea?" "Not guilty, your highness," Sakura answered immediately. She ignored the look Naruto gave her for her answer. "Then I, heir apparent of the Shiar Empire, hereby declare Eren an inhaler," Kaguya proclaimed dramatically. "Do what?" Naruto asked, eyes squinting and head tilted in confusion. "Trial by combat," Sakura explained softly. Stepping in front of Vulcan, Kaguya rested her hand on his arm. I name you, Vulcan, as my champion. Turning to Quill, she smiled cruelly. Peter Quill of Earth, who do you name? A dumbfounded Quill opened and closed his mouth, unable to say a word. As Quill gathered his thoughts, Naruto stepped up. I volunteer. You shall be a champion for him? And what of yourself? Kelsey asked. From her hungry expression she knew the answer. Myself. I'll fight for both of us. Naruto answered. Excellent. Kelsey purred. Should you win, you and Peter Quill will be absolved of all charges. And if I lose? If you lose, you will be made a member of my Imperial Guard. Kelsey stated with confidence. Naruto didn't hesitate to say, when I win, my friends come with me. Kelsey pondered the demand for a second. I agree to your terms, Naruto Uzumaki, she said, giving an imperial salute to seal the deal. A Shi'ar shuttlecraft descended through the planet of Kaladin, a desolate wasteland that was covered by a pink, rocky landscape. Blue vegetation was scattered and scarce, freckling the harsh land, with white clouds sitting softly in the purple-colored sky. Inside the shuttle, Naruto stood in the shuttle cabin, holding the strap on the cabin wall to brace himself for the descent. He looked at Sakura out of the corner of his eye, the woman sitting next to him with her full warbird uniform on, mask and all. I know you want to say something, Sakura said, her voice deepened by the mask. Just ask. You knew they were gonna do this, didn't you? Naruto asked bluntly. Yes. Naruto narrowed his eyes. And you went along with it? It was this or letting her send you to the pits, Sakura explained. I know you can win, if it makes you feel any better. She couldn't make me go anywhere. I could break this cuff any time I wanted to. Naruto grumbled petulantly. Sakura gave him a suggestive smile. What are you still doing here then? I'm here for you. Sakura sat up in surprise at Naruto's answer. Oh, she said softly. Naruto scratched his cheek awkwardly. Sorry if that was corny. A laugh came from Sakura, who shook her head as she said, It's good to know you haven't changed, Naruto. Naruto huffed. I've changed plenty, Sakura. We're not kids anymore. No, we're not, Sakura agreed. We've both got new responsibilities, people who depend on us now. Yeah. The shuttle landed, the bay doors lowering with a hiss. As sharp sunlight broke through into the cabin, Naruto stepped up to the door. Looking over his shoulder, Naruto gave Sakura a confident grin. Wish me luck. Sakura stood, nodding to him. Good luck, knucklehead. Stepping off the shuttle, Naruto squinted his eyes at the harsh sunlight. Walking out onto the rocky terrain, Naruto covered his face as the shuttle took off, kicking dust up over him as it ascended. Grumbling, Naruto watched the shuttle fly away. Patting the dust off his jumpsuit, he looked down at the soul band on his wrist. The light that had been red suddenly turned green, the band uncuffing and falling to the ground. Feeling his chakra surge through, Naruto smiled approvingly. That's better. With a hard stomp, Naruto smashed the soul band with his foot. What did I miss? Kurama asked from within the seal. I'll fill you in later. Naruto thought. We're about to have a rematch. Get ready. What's the game plan? The man can absorb chakra like the Petra Path. Maybe let him absorb some natural energy, turn him to stone, Kurama proposed. Naruto shook his head. No, I had something else in mind. I'm dying for some payback. Kurama knew what Naruto was thinking. It'll hurt. Not as much as it'll hurt him. Whatever, brat. As long as you know you asked for it. Heads up, we've got company, Naruto said, looking up as a streak of energy shot down from the sky and crashed into the ground on the other side of the rocky valley. Stepping out of the crater his landing had created, a grinning Vulcan's eyes burned with an immense energy. The two entering a standoff, Naruto and Vulcan said nothing as they let the warm Kaladin breeze blow over them. Finally, Vulcan said, Got any more of that chakra of yours for me? Naruto narrowed his eyes. Be careful what you wish for. Vulcan laughed. And what do you wish for? To be with Warbird? You know, if you join up with the Imperial Guard, the two of you will be together again. Just like the good old days, right? Isn't that what you want? More than anything, Naruto admitted. So skip this fight. Join us, Vulcan said welcomingly. Naruto beamed dangerously. And skip out on a rematch with you? No way. That's the whole reason I'm doing this. Feeling Naruto's lust for battle, Vulcan returned his grin. That's fine by me. Remember what I said, Naruto warned. Be careful what you wish for. Gathered around a large, wall-sized viewing screen, Impulse, Astra, and Titan watched as the battle between Naruto and Vulcan was about to begin. Behind them, lounging on her chaise, Kal'Ci was brimming with excitement. Entering the viewing room, Sakura saluted to Kal'Ci. Your Highness. Not taking her eyes off the view screen, Kal'Ci said. Come, Warbird, watch the show. Walking up next to Kal'Ci, Sakura stood at parade rest next to the heiress. What are the odds, you think? Titan asked. Vulcan will wipe the planet with his face. Impulse answered confidently. Astra nodded. I feel bad for the man, honestly. Titan turned to Sakura, eyebrow raised. Warbird? Sakura was quiet for a second. When we were kids, plenty of people underestimated Naruto, me included. He always manages to surprise. Kal'Ci leaned forward. Hopefully he lives up to my expectations. As Sakura was about to respond, the screen was filled with a blast of angry, red energy. Sakura, stunned at what was happening on the screen, got closer to get a better look. What is that? Kal'Ci demanded in shock. A reckoning. Chapter 36. Give me everything. A massive cylindrical warship cruised across a twinkling nebula, the ship emanating a horrid vapor in its wake. Splayed across the bow of the silver ship was a pair of navy blue claws, the sigil of the Brotherhood of Badon. Within the ship, walking through the steel-framed bridge, a fully armored Badon crusader by the name of Visor stopped at attention in front of the bridge's mounted view screen. Clasping his arms behind him, the knight ordered through his helmet's visor. Show me. The screen came to life, showing an image of Kaladin. After a moment of nothing happening, a minuscule dot of red energy emanated from the planet's surface. The energy eventually vanished from sight, leaving the image Kaladin as it once was. How long ago was this? Visor asked. 5 minutes ago, sir. We have since confirmed that a Shi'ar battlecruiser belonging to their royal family is docked within the planet's orbit. Visor stared at the view screen, his hand going to the saber handle on his hip. Set course for Kaladin. I will inform Brother Royal of this new development. We cannot let this opportunity slip by. Aye, sir. Blood-red chakra exploded out from Naruto, blasting upward as an ominous beam of energy, cracks of red lightning arcing outward across the air. Vulcan braced his arms in front of his face as the blast of energy coming from Naruto sent a massive wave of wind toward him like an otherworldly hurricane. He watched, stunned, as that intense red chakra beamed into the sky, a sense of dread filling the valley. Eventually, the energy dissipated, and as the smoke cleared, a glowing figure emerged in Naruto's place. Hunched over, the vulpine-like creature stood on its hind legs, its body made from that angry, blood-red chakra which hung over it like molten lava. 4 thick chakra tails swung lazily behind it. 2 round white eyes stared blankly from its black, featureless face, its jagged mouth agape as steam spilled out as it released a long breath. Naruto? Vulcan asked, stunned by the transformation. Naruto growled, his eyes narrowing when it heard Vulcan's voice. As Vulcan was about to speak again, a searing hot blur shot by, barely missing and colliding with the tall plateau behind him, obliterating the formation in an explosion of rocky debris. Jumping back, Vulcan watched as Naruto shook his head after digging himself out of the rubble. What the hell is that? Vulcan asked himself, confused yet excited. Naruto turned his attention back on Vulcan, about to fire toward him again as Kurama said through the seal. Using my chakra like this means you have less control than you've gotten used to, brat. I figured that out. Naruto thought briskly. I hate this form. Stop using it then. Stop talking so I can concentrate. Whatever. Wear yourself out. Naruto dashed forward, blasting toward Vulcan with his clawed hand aiming for the man's head. Kal'Ci walked toward the view screen, watching in bewilderment as the monstrously transformed Naruto engaged Vulcan in battle. What is this? She asked Sakura, who was standing a few paces in front of her. Sakura shook her head. I didn't think he used that transformation anymore, she said, subconsciously clutching her left upper arm. Is he some kind of monster? Titan asked harshly, getting a look from Sakura that was obviously heated even behind her mask. He's no monster, Kal'Ci breathed with wonder. He's magnificent. Warbird, what is this transformation? How did he come to possess this power? Sakura hesitated to answer truthfully or not before relenting. When he was a baby, a being made of pure chakra, what my people called soul, was sealed inside of him. This transformation is him tapping into a portion of that being's power. Though when we last met, he managed to master its chakra, and the transformations no longer looked like this. Do other beings like that still exist? No. Kelsey sighed. A shame, still, to see this kind of power is a marvel. She turned to Quill, who was sitting in the corner of the room with his wrists still cuffed in front of him. You, Peter Quill, has he ever used this form in front of you? Nope. Quill answered simply, clearly not happy to be in the position he was in. So, he doesn't use it anymore. Astra said. Then why use it now? Sakura observed the fight as it grew more intense. We'll have to wait and see. Vulcan jumped back as Naruto swung his arm toward him, avoiding his claws by the skin of his teeth. He was unprepared for the shockwave that came after it. Barely managing to absorb the energy of the blast in time, Vulcan turned it back where it came, expelling a burst of energy that barely made Naruto budge. Narrowing his eyes, Vulcan formed a ball of solar energy in his hand, the energy growing dense before throwing it at the four-tailed Naruto. Without even batting an eye, the shinobi swung one of his tails at the attack, causing it to explode, a flash of white-hot energy swallowing the clearing completely. Flying out of the still smoldering crater, Vulcan hovered about the cloud of smoke, his body covered in a solar energy. As the smoke began to clear, Vulcan noticed several blue and red balls of chakra floating near the epicenter. Within the smoke, Naruto began forming a tailed beast bomb, the red and blue chakra swirling together to form a massive sphere of dense, purple energy. The chakra sphere began to shrink, and as it did, the ground around Naruto caved in from the bomb's pressure. Unhinging his jaw, Naruto opened his mouth and ingested the chakra sphere, swallowing it whole. What in the... Vulcan muttered curiously as Naruto's body suddenly expanded in comedically round shape. What could he possibly be? Naruto fired a beam of bright red chakra toward Vulcan, the man narrowly able to raise his up in front of him before the attack hit him head-on. The view screen's image was completely white from the tailed beast ball's explosion, leaving the viewer stunned at the power on display. Kelsey, eyes wide, seemed positively giddy at the show before her, a smile plastered on her face. This is greater than I imagined, Kelsey declared, her eyes hungry. I've finally found a monster of my own. Sakura stiffened but didn't say a word. Her attention was on the view screen, waiting for the explosion to settle. This is only a portion of his power? Titan asked, bewildered. Yes, Sakura answered. It's no wonder then that he defeated the Mad Titan, Impulse said. The Nova called him a celestial, Astra said. A god. Kelsey strode toward her chaise, sitting down as she said confidently. Don't count our Vulcan out just yet. The man might not have the monstrous strength of Gladiator, but when it comes to this kind of fight, Vulcan always has the upper hand. As if to prove her point, as the view screen finally cleared, the smoke parting to reveal Vulcan grappling with the beastly Naruto, his arms wrapped around his left arm and neck from behind. Naruto struggled against Vulcan like a trapped animal, thrashing his body to get loose from the other man's grip, to no avail. Vulcan grinned as he locked Naruto in place. Finally, got a good hold on you now. Don't worry, it'll be over soon. Naruto froze as he felt Kurama's chakra get sucked away at a shockingly rapid rate, his four tails turning into 3, and then 2, then 1. His chakra cloak receding into its first stage, a thick bubbling red chakra that seemed to have a mind of its own. His head drooped, his feral face obscured by his frizzled hair. Just a bit more and then... Vulcan began to say, only to stop in shock, his brow dripping with sweat and face contorted with pain. What? He blurted out as he let go of Naruto, his arms cradling his body as red bubbling chakra began to emerge from his body. 3 chakra tails formed behind him. Naruto stumbled away, cracking his strained neck. His skin was bright red like it had just been sun-burned, his red eyes looking up at Vulcan with amusement. Huh, so that actually worked. Vulcan looked at his shaking hands, his skin growing red like Naruto's. What is this? You know, you should really watch what you eat. Some foods might not agree with you. Naruto mocked. That chakra you took belongs to a friend of mine. And he doesn't really like strangers taking what's his. The ground beneath Vulcan began to crack. The pained Imperial Guard looked down just in time to witness another Naruto explode out of the ground and punch him in the face so hard it sent him flying, tumbling across the barren valley. The second Naruto's toad-like pupils gleamed with amusement. About time, I was starting to get cramped under there. Naruto rolled his eyes. Just a spell already, my skin's killing me here. With a departing middle finger, the shadow clone dispersed, the sage chakra he'd gather funneling into the original, his eyes turning yellow as an orange pigmentation appeared around his eyes. His red skin was now clearing up, now a blotchy pattern that made it look like he'd had an allergic reaction. Forming his trademark hand sign, Naruto grinned as 4 shadow clones puffed into existence behind him. Across the clearing, Vulcan stood up, having released Kurama's chakra and his hands emitting a deep solar energy with a pressure pulsing from him as he waited for Naruto to make a move. 3 of the shadow clones sped toward Vulcan, bum rushing the man from 3 different directions. Vulcan ducked under the first clone's spin kick, coming up to block a hammer kick from above from the second. The third went for Vulcan's exposed back, only to find a beam of solar energy blasting through his chest, popping him. Grabbing the leg of the second clone, Vulcan slammed him to the ground, breaking the earth open just before the clone exploded in a puff of smoke. From the corner of his eye, he saw the first flying at him with his fist cocked back. He nonchalantly weaved his head to avoid the punch, only for the strike to connect anyway, sending him flying. Before he even touched the ground, the 4th Naruto clone landed on his abdomen with a vicious knee drop, plowing him into the earth like a hammer. As the clearing rings from the fight's destruction, Vulcan shot out from the ground, the 1st and 4th Naruto clones on him at the same time. Vulcan moved with impressive skill, able to keep the 2 at bay as they danced around him. Skipping across the clearing, Vulcan threw 2 fizzing balls of solar energy that flew toward the 2 clones, tracking their movements as they tried to dodge. As the 2 clones jumped around the clearing trying to get away from their respective attacks, the constructs began to glow, nearly blinding the 2 clones before exploding, taking the shadow clones with them. Hearing the rapid spinning of chakra overhead, Vulcan looked up to see Naruto dropping down on him with a massive Rasengan in hand. Ultra Giant Rasengan! Naruto cried as he pressed the attack toward Vulcan. Vulcan raised his hands up to absorb the attack, smiling with the confidence that he could absorb and turn the jutsu back on the shinobi, only to freeze when he saw Naruto grinning victoriously. Underneath him, 2 Naruto shadow clones blurred into existence, crouched low. Vulcan had no time to react as the 2 clones both kicked up into his chin, sending him flying up into the oncoming Ultra Giant Rasengan. Shadow Clone Combo! Ultra Giant Rasengan! Lion's Barrage! The attack hit. A massive burst of swirling chakra filled the sky. What am I seeing, brother? Visor stood before a towering wooden cathedra, arms folded behind him as he watched the battle going on between Vulcan and Naruto. Seated regally atop the aged throne, draped in deep red robes that flowed under him, Brother Royal, monarch of the Brotherhood of Badon, watched the Aranen inhaler unfold with suspicious concern. Brother Royal, unlike the typical Badon stature of 7 feet or more, was stout in comparison at 4 feet tall. His green, reptilian skin was absent of the ceremonial ink most crusaders proudly displayed, his round red eyes shining with intelligence lacked by any brother before him. Royal's reptilian visage was round and soft, having never seen battle or done a day of hard labor in his life. This was a man of knowledge, a scholar. A Shiar Aranen inhaler, from what we can tell, brother. Visor answered Royal's question. Royal nodded. I recognize Vulcan of the Imperial Guard. He is the right hand to the heir apparent, Kalsi. Who is the other? Our databases show him to be Naruto Uzumaki of Earth. The Celestial? Yes, brother. This has been confirmed? Yes, brother. Royal leaned forward in his seat, engrossed in the battle. The rumors seem to be a bit of an exaggeration. He fights like a beast, not a god. He is dangerous, nonetheless. Visor warned. Royal nodded again, eyes turning to the fully armored crusader. And we have confirmed Kalsi is present? We have not gotten visible confirmation of her, but her ship is in Kaladin's orbit. Releasing a thoughtful breath, Royal said, even still, we cannot let this opportunity escape us. The chance to take a shard for ourselves, imagine it, brother. I have already set course for Kaladin. Visor stated. Once at full speed, we will be there in moments. With the battle taking place, by the time they notice us it will be too late. Well done. Royal complimented, leaning back in his cathedra. Prepare a paroxysm. Visor bowed. It will be done. I still don't understand. Titan began. How was he able to hit Vulcan with that attack? It was made of soul. He should have been able to absorb or redirect it. Astra nodded. Usually, but Vulcan has to be able to react first, it isn't just automatic. That combination was intentionally meant to put Vulcan into a position where he had no chance to react to the attack. It was a brilliant strategy. Impulse rolled his eyes. Let's not go that far. He got lucky, that's all. Vulcan's about to go all out now. The only person able to take him on when he does is Gladiator. Kelsey, lounging across her chaise, turned her attention to Sakura's back, the other woman watching the fight silently, her only reactions being small shifts in posture. Warbird, your thoughts on the battle so far? Warbird turned toward Kelsey, tilting her head thoughtfully. Vulcan has what my people would call an absolute defense. He can cover himself in a shield made of solar energy, making it impossible to hit him with physical attacks. And attacks made of any kind of energy are absorbed or redirected. He's impervious to practically any attack. And what do you think of your friend's chances? Kelsey asked. He's come up against a few of these absolute defenses before, Sakura said confidently. And when he did, he was always the underdog. But every time he found a way past it. I don't see it, Impulse said defiantly, arms folded. I've never seen you this passionate, Warbird, Kelsey declared in a teasing tone. Though with that mask you've always been hard to read. With respect, we haven't spent that much time together, Your Highness, Sakura said with a clipped yet polite tone. You have a point. Kelsey relented, though she didn't seem amused. No longer getting any humor out of teasing Sakura, the woman focused on the view screen, her eyes lighting up with a dangerous curiosity as the fight continued. Vulcan, his uniform torn and his face slick with blood, was breathing heavily as he launched wave after wave of energy at Naruto, who was using shadow clones to help him maneuver in the air by having them swing and throw him out of the way. Naruto, a shadow clone swinging him toward the ground, channeled chakra into his fist before punching into the ground, obliterating the clearing around them completely with a Sakura-inspired attack. Flying in the air above the destroyed valley, Vulcan, now completely covered in a cloak of solar energy, let his engine rev as energy began to burst out in a blistering heat. Naruto, hiding in the smoke on the ground, looked up at the miniature star that was Vulcan. Alright, what now? He thought. Well, straight up physical attacks are out now, at least without a cloak of your own. But then he'll just absorb it once you get close enough, Kurama said, sitting with his arms folded thoughtfully within the seal. You could always let him absorb some nature energy, let him turn to stone. Naruto squinted his eyes, mouth bunched up uncertainly. I don't know, seems kinda mean. Just giving you options. You know what? Fuck it. If he's going all out, I'm going all out. And if he can absorb it? I just gotta catch him by surprise. You have a plan? The makings of part of a plan, yeah. Naruto thought playfully before sitting down and closing his eyes as he began to concentrate. A few moments later, Vulcan raised an eyebrow as 4 Naruto clones jumped out of the dust cloud, flying toward him. All 4 withdrew a pair of kunai, the blades covered in magnet chakra. As the 5 engaged in an intense midair dogfight, a swirling cosmic energy began to pour over the smoking clearing, dispelling the smoke to reveal Naruto meditating, his usually spiky hair now loose and curly as the cosmic energy caused it to sway. Opening his eyes, he revealed a pair of swirling purple irises that resembled a galaxy. Standing up, he nonchalantly stretched his arms and back. Man, it's been a minute since I've used the cosmic sage mode. It's wild. Back in the sky, the shadow clones and Vulcan continued their brawl, the clones doing an admirable job of dodging Vulcan's solar blasts while directing their magnet-style kunai to try and piece-throw his solar cloak. As the fight grew more intense, Vulcan failed to notice they were getting closer and closer to a tall rock formation on the horizon. Vulcan, finally realizing they were getting close to the formation just as they were nearly on top of it, began to move out of the way, conveniently dodging all 8 kunai as they went sailing past him. Unlike every other time, the kunai didn't return to the shadow clone who threw them, instead embedding into the rock. Vulcan retaliated by shooting several blasts of solar energy at the clones, successfully hitting 3 of the 4 shadow clones, causing them to disperse. The last clone, falling to the ground after dodging the solar blasts, performed half a dozen hand signs before landing on the ram seal. Grinning, the clone pronounced, "Magnetic trapping seal!" Behind Vulcan, the 8 kunai began to glow, lines of chakra emitting from the blades across the rock formation, connecting with each other to form an octagram seal. As the seal came to life, it glowed with magnet chakra. Vulcan, feeling himself being pulled from the armor around his Imperial Guard uniform toward the seal, tried to maneuver out of the way but wasn't fast enough to keep his body from colliding into the sealing matrix. As Vulcan struggled against the seal, he stopped when he saw Naruto floating above him, his purple eyes glowing ominously. Then, like he'd been blinked out of existence, Naruto was gone without a trace. As a confused Vulcan began to exude a massive amount of solar energy, melting the kunai and destroying the sealing matrix keeping him in place, Naruto appeared in front of him. The world slowed down around him, the cosmically powered shinobi moving in slow motion as his punch descended toward Vulcan's stomach like he was moving through molasses. Then, right before his fist made contact, the world sped up again, and everything for Vulcan went black. Quill watched with mild curiosity as the entire room went quiet after Vulcan's defeat at Naruto's hands. Raising his cuffed hands, he said matter-of-factly, "Welp, a deal's a deal. Naruto won, I'm scot-free. Uncuff me already." Kelsey practically jumped to her feet, stomping her foot as she shouted, "What is the meaning of this?" That released the floodgate, the entire room shouting over each other. Impulse and Astra argued over the validity of the fight. Titan yelled at a group of subordinates to rewind the footage back to the last few seconds. Several other legionnaires scrambled around the room, not knowing what to do as chaos began to break out. The only one to remain calm was Sakura, her eyes never leaving the view screen as Naruto reverted to his normal self. "Even after all this time, he keeps finding ways to surprise me," she said to herself softly. Turning toward the chaos, she sighed when she noticed none of her fellow guards are taking control of the situation. Feeling the vein in her forehead pulsing as annoyance began to build in her gut, she slammed her fist on the terminal next to her, causing a loud bang that got everyone's attention. "Enough already!" she shouted toward her fellow Imperial guards and legionnaires, her tone causing them to freeze at attention. Looking at Kelsey, the woman still shocked at the sight of her personal guard losing a duel, Sakura said calmly, "Your Highness, Naruto has won the Aranin Inhaler. By Shiar law, he is absolved of all his crimes, correct?" Kelsey glared at Sakura, her eyes like daggers as she raised her nose up at the Imperial Guard haughtily. "Do you really think I'm going to let him go? He's too valuable an asset to my dream, excuse me?" Sakura asked, a hint of danger in her tone, completely foregoing her usual politeness when talking to Kelsey. The pink gem within Kelsey's scepter glowed ominously. "Don't talk back to me, girl. You might have my little sister's favor, but I have no issue ridding myself of the headache that is you. I won't let you hurt him," Sakura promised. "If I have to go to your sister, I will. She won't stand for this." Kelsey's glare grew more dangerous. "You think I'm scared of her? Just because she has you and the gladiator on a leash doesn't mean she has any authority over me. I am the heir apparent." While Sakura and Kelsey continued to argue, and the rest of the Imperial Guard and Legionnaires acting as a stunned audience, Quill noticed a flashing alert on the view screen behind them. His eyes widened as he realized why the alert was sounding. Guys?" He got no answer. "Guys." "What?" Sakura and Kelsey both almost comedically screamed at Quill, both annoyed at having their argument interrupted. He pointed at the view screen nervously. "We've got company." Vulcan awoke, flinching at the light from Kaladin's two suns. Sitting up, he looked around to see that he was laying at the edge of a tall cliff overlooking the torn-up battlefield from his fight with Naruto. The valley was torn to sunder, plumes of smoke piling into the sky and the ground blown to pieces. Seeing this caused Vulcan to look around, noticing Naruto lounging on a rock as tall as he was a few yards away. "Finally awake, huh?" Naruto asked lamely, his arms folded behind his head as he gave Vulcan a squinted look of appraisal. "How you feeling? From the looks of it, you've got a crazy good healing factor." Vulcan looked down, realizing his Imperial Guard uniform was torn apart, revealing his toned chest. Though stiff and bruised, his stomach had healed. Standing up with a pained grunt, Vulcan asked, "What happened?" "Hitcha, with a power cosmic-filled punch," Naruto said nonchalantly. Vulcan looked at Naruto in shock. "You can utilize the power cosmic?" "Yup." "How?" "Trainin'." "Training?" "Uh-huh." Vulcan scowled. "You're a pain in the ass, you know that?" Naruto laughed. "Yeah, I've heard that before." He sat up, turning his head toward Vulcan. "You've got some cool powers yourself. You're the strongest guy I've fought in a long time." Vulcan, used to that kind of praise, shrugged. "Thanks. Wanna be friends?" Pausing at the sudden request, Vulcan looked at Naruto like he was an idiot. "What?" Sliding over, Naruto sits facing Vulcan, his elbow resting on his knee and his chin on his palm. "We should be friends, you know?" he said simply. Vulcan scoffed at the blonde. "No thanks. I don't have time for friends." Naruto gave him a deadpan reaction. "That's unbelievably sad. I don't care what you think. If you say so." You're getting on my nerves. I do that. Groaning with anger, Vulcan ran his hand through his hair. You know she won't just let you go, right? The Princess Bird Lady? What's her name? Cassie? Her name is Calcie. Vulcan corrected. And she's not big on losing. She'll do whatever she can to keep you. She has to. Why? Naruto asked. She might be the heir apparent, but that doesn't guarantee she will become the next Magistrix. Vulcan explained. A key part of who succeeds as ruler of the Shi'ar Empire is the power of their Imperial Guard. Calcie's sister, Lilandra, has a member of her Imperial Guard who is more powerful than every other member of the Guard combined. Calcie has scrounged the galaxy looking for a warrior strong enough to rival Lilandra's gladiator. Gladiator? He's the praetor of Strontia. Seeing Naruto's confusion, Vulcan elaborated. Among the Struntians, the praetor is their chosen warrior, elected by the people to represent Strontia's strength. Every living Struntian gives a portion of their life force to the praetor, imbuing him with the strength of billions of Struntians. He can destroy planets with a single punch, survive a supernova, smother a black hole, and move at the speed of light. Naruto blinked in astonishment. Yikes. Vulcan looked at Naruto with confusion. That's it. I don't know, I think I could take him, Naruto said with a shrug. Vulcan shook his head. And that's why Calcie won't let you go. You're her best hope to becoming the Magistrix. Sighing, Naruto scratched his scalp in annoyance. What a pain. Guess I'll just have to convince her otherwise. Convince her how? You know, talk to her. Talk to her? Sure, why not? Worth a try at least. Vulcan looked at Naruto like he was an idiot. Trust me, there's no talking her out of anything. But fine, do whatever you want, dig your own grave for all I care. Naruto laughed. Thanks, I will. Vulcan stared at Naruto, not sure whether to take him seriously or not. Closing his eyes, he let out a tired breath. My name is Gabriel. Naruto closed his eyes as he gave a big grin Gabriel's way. Nice to meet ya. I'm Naruto, though I guess you know that already. Vulcan looked back Naruto's way. Alright, I'll have them phase us up. He froze as he saw something in the sky above Naruto. Oh gods. Naruto blinked. Huh. Turning around, he was stunned to see a Badun warship descending through Kaladin's atmosphere. What now?